hey, we're gonna go to the graveyard.
Oh, are you gonna do something there?
Nah, we're just gonna hang out and drink age-appropriate drinks.
Like the juice?
Yeah, and whatever. Age-appropriate stuff that's not illegal. Hey, you should come.
Evil. Losing your freaking mind, man. Maybe you are, bro. Maybe you're absolutely freaking gone, dude. What's up, gang? And gang members. And Buttersock gang cult. Buttersock Gult. I really should be asleep right now, but oh well. Oh well, Liam. I guess you're gonna have to wake up tomorrow with a headache. Who knows, maybe we'll cure it. We'll cure the headache tonight. What's up, Joel? Thanks for telling me about Mr. Black Pasta. Hey, yes, good content, but not as good as yours. Yeah, the disturbing truth is where you want to go for his new stuff. It's good shit. Good true crime. Where he really digs deep into it. Squanch TV or baked. Like a sweet potato. You, Autumn, wondering how your name is green? Somebody must have gifted you. Gave you that good. It's already tomorrow for me, 3 a.m. Huh, wonder where you're at that it's already 3 a.m. Oh yeah, in the UK. My bad. I just realized, for some reason I thought it was midnight here, it's not. Did I see the picture you tweeted of Chico? I don't think so. Was Chico a cat, perhaps? I've come such a long way. Thank you. The biggest deal is that I came at all. Sandra with the 2 months. Welcome back. Welcome everyone back to the Buttersock Call. And some delightful Streamazillas here. Says, hey Joel and the child. I'm back after missing a few streams. Definitely need this distraction. Love you. Thank you, Sandra. Love you as well. Looking for the kitty cat. I don't see him anywhere. He must be off prowling. Doing a bit of his hunting. Do I make my own music for the videos? I love scary ambient music. Yeah, so my biggest contributors to my background music for the scary stuff is, well, all of the podcast is Simon DB, but now he switched his name as an artist to Inect. Kind of hard to say, but it's INEKT. I think it's Inect. And he's very talented and helps me all with all the podcasts, but I used a lot of Iron Cthulhu Apocalypse in the past. Give Pradeep a kiss, I shall. Give him a kiss on his silly little mouth. Debbie Cogdill. Hope this music's not too loud. Just gonna turn it down ever so slightly so I can freaking think, man. But Debbie, welcome back for 2 months. It's glad to be a member again. Joel, thank you for another stream, and thanks for liking my comment on Instagram. Hey, no problem. I'm really good at it. Sometimes I see ones, and I just take my finger, and I slowly bring it closer to the screen of my iPhone until it makes contact. And then when it touches that little heart, it gives you a little bit of a like. And Josie Sheji says, Josie says, I'm going to go with Josie says. That sounds accurate. But thank you for the 3 Canadian. Thank you. I know you're from Animated Stories. You still do those. It might be on other channels. They tend to like to take my voice and use it for their animated stuff. What's the person that you makes your intros again? I guess it just depends on which intro. There's Robin Mikalsen. He does all my thumbnails. But then there's also one with like the skeleton soldiers that is Axeman cartoons. And then Umami helped me with one of my intros, or I commissioned him a while back when he was first popping off with his interface stuff. Which actually he's selling interface on Blu-ray. I suggest you get it if you're into that kind of thing. Rico, what's going on, dude? Good to see ya. I use my voice for hentai, yeah. I'm pretty much featured in every hentai known to man. David De La Rosa, welcome back for a whole year in the Buttersock Cult. It's our 1 year friendiversary, cultiversary, whatever you want to call it. But hi, Joel, just wanted to say thank you for everything you do. Thank you, David, for the continued support and just presence. Sometimes in people's lives, you just need to simply be there, you know? There's really no better way to build up trust with another human being and friendship and all that good stuff than just simply existing within proximity. Liam, thank you for the 79 quid. I'm going to say quid. Quid sounds like the right word to use there. You're jumping down, wish me luck. Where are you jumping, Kyle? Please do be careful. If it's a pit, some sort of pit. Some sort of pit filled with slime. And you're just dipping your toes. Also really love the one with the skinwalker in the rain, but all the intros are great. Oh yeah, that was the Paranormal Stories one. I've not used that in quite some time. Dude, it's too late. Go to bed or play Overwatch 2. Sam, it is probably 7:30 p.m. where you're at. The night is simply beginning for you. You should take a drinky drink. Touchy subject, how you been after the scary email? I've been good, you know. I don't know. Sometimes maybe bringing attention to it is what some people just want, you know. People that exist within that realm of being stalkerish or weird. Sometimes maybe they just want the attention. Maybe that's the bad thing to do. But, I don't know. I'm not too concerned about other humans and their psychotic nature. Shanus, welcome back for half a year. Says, hey, so glad to be here. Glad I found our little Buttersock cult. You found us. We were just prancing out in the woods, gathered around a bonfire one night, and you just so happened to be meandering through at midnight. Mammy Kitten, what's going on? Good to see you. What about that toes? Number 15, Burger King Foot Fadoosh. You're weird, not a stalker. No, it's okay. I don't mind. We like weirdos. Weirdo. Got any spooky plans for Halloween? Me personally? Yeah. Can't tell you. It's gonna be sick though. You just frickin' wait. What's the genre tonight? Yeah, we got some pretty, really solid Reddit stories to bang out. So prepare your ear holes because you are in for some doozies. These are all like highly voted, upvoted from Le Reddit. Thank you, Johnny Chimpo. I like that last name. It's cool. Appreciate you. Normal is no fun. Normal is no fun. And it's quite boring to always have to go through that day in and day out, having normal conversations with normal people. Even the normal people that you think might be normal in your life probably aren't so normal deep down. And their abnormal self wishes to break free at any moment. I fell asleep during the last stream and woke up right in the end of it. Perfect timing, Liam. Joel, can you say Oni-chan? Oni-chan? I don't think I can pronounce the other one. Dasuke Oni-chan. Normal is gross. David with the 2, thank you, my friend. But yeah, Overwatch 2, it's out. And then, so I remember I actually got access to it earlier today at like 15 minutes before it came out. I was like, oh shit, we're in, baby. And then I was like, oh shit, I need to change some settings. And then I changed the settings. And I had, and restarted the game, and then all of a sudden it was like behind fucking 30,000 other people, and I was like, oh fuck. And then I finally got through that after like 20 minutes of queuing and got back in. And then it was, I think at one point I had said in a game, I was like, this game is a fucking meme. I typed that in the chat. And then I don't know what happened all of a sudden, like, not that long after, I just got disconnected from the servers. So in my head, I was like, oh fuck, I'm banned for being toxic already. And, but that wasn't the case. I guess Blizzard has had like just a terrible launch with it so far. Whatever the fuck. Stephanie Bowling with the 5 says, Joe, I don't think there's anyone more dominant than Jacob. Joe, have you ever seen anyone more dominant than Jacob? Jacob is just a domineering force to be reckoned with. There's really just no arguing with that. It's a done deal. As soon as he was born into this world, it was like Chuck Norris was like, all right, I'm out of here. Replace me with Jacob. Jacob will be now promoting the Bowflex. And Mammy Kitten with the 5 says, hubby and I love listening to your lives. They're always so fun. Oh, thank you, Mammy. Hello to both of you. And Zach Holt, welcome back for half a year. Everybody's on the half a year spectrum here. Hell yeah. Do you know how to get to Bell's Canyon? No, but if you don't, get out of here and I'll show you how to get to Hell's Canyon. I don't know what that's from, but I like it, Zach. Thank you. And welcome back for half a year, 6 months. Dreams Are Lies. That's a new name I've not seen. With the 10. Thank you, Dreams says, thank you, Joel. You're my most listened to narrator. Wanted to give something back. You're amazing with that buttersmooth voice and inflective emotion. Well, thank you, Dreams. Appreciate you. It is good to see you. And thank you for the support. Well, who made the graphic playing right now? Yeah, that's Robin Mikalsen from Norway. Jacob and Joel dubbing anime as a duo. Name a more iconic duo in anime dubbing than Jacob Bowling and Let's Read. Bell's Canyon is my favorite Mr. Balin story. Oh, okay, right on. It's from Mr. Balin. Maybe that was a test to see if I was Mr. Balin worthy. I've been a Patreon member for a little bit over a month and got the cute cat sticker of Pradeep, and thank you for letting me be part of Buttersock. No worries, Sarah. Good to see you. And thank you for the support. That song that just played was really awesome. Hell yeah. I don't remember which one it is. This playlist is called Lo-Fi Halloween Mix 2 Dark Lo-Fi Hip Hop Beats by Dated on the Ill Advised Records YouTube channel. You should go check it out. It's got some nice little Halloween vibes to it. You think you first heard Bell's Canyon from Lazy? Oh, okay. I was going to say, I don't think Mr. Balin did like exclusive stories or anything. Is that the same Robin that edits for Jacksepticeye? No, I don't think so. I think, but my Robin probably would be very happy to edit for Mr. Jack. But let me know if anybody knows any other editors out there. I'm always... Me and my homeboy, Robin Mikalsen, we were discussing about the Inspector channel. And he actually did complete an entire... I think it was like 14 minutes or so of like a true crime documentary, but it was like a historical true crime one, and it's great. It was, you know, it's like watching History Channel style stuff, but you know, it took him close to a month to complete it, you know what I mean? And based on the sort of like output demand that tends to fall on YouTubers, I just wasn't, I'm kind of in this weird middle ground where I'm not even sure if it's plausible, you know what I mean, to start a new channel, because I'm looking at it more like something where I have these true crime stories written up, you know what I mean, and to turn them into video from the audio onto another channel would be a great way to promote, you know, my stuff. And start a new channel and compete with other, you know, true crime channels, etc. But if it's going to take, you know, quite a bit of time, I feel like I'm going to need like a team of editors, you know what I mean, to put together stuff like that. And I guess that's kind of where I'm at right now. So if anybody has any suggestions for, or you know, other editors they know or want to reference them to me, definitely hit me up. And Jacob Bowling, welcome back for 9 whole months. Says everyone, the King of Kings is going to speak. Let me remind everyone that what happened to the original sex bots, I destroyed them. Good God, Jacob, have mercy upon the sex bot souls. And welcome back for 9 months. And Maddie B from PA, welcome back for 3 months. Says howdy Joel, glad to be here and catching it live. Good to see you, Maddie B. From Pennsylvania, fellow Pennsylvanian. Pennsyltuckian. Anyone looking forward to the new Halloween movie? I'm not sure what to expect from that. It's called like Halloween Ends, right? Where she finally gets in that killer blow. She finally does a face reveal on Michael. Stephanie Bowling with the 2 says, Joel, Jacob is in the house. It's game time. Hell yeah. It's motherfucking game time. Maximum comfort, blankie mode. Game time, energy. Oh, there's an energy drink name right there. Game time energy. Fuck yeah, it's just got a picture like Master Chief or something. Did they ever do that? 3 a.m. best time to listen to Let's Stream. To be honest, this is true. It's the perfect hour. We will keep the witches away and at bay, so that they do not stay and keep your hair in a fray. When you miss so many streams and you're like, Jacob from Twilight? So Sandra, yeah, it's been a while. Overwatch 2 is out, and I did get to play it, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know, I really don't know how to feel about it, to be honest. Like, I don't know. There was so many times playing it. At first I played some healer, you know what I mean? I did a little healer action, and man, it was like, I thought that maybe there was something, you know, maybe I had some carry potential because I was playing some Ana. And I thought they had the potential for like carry or 2 carry. And you know, the 5v5 sort of just encourages your team to just go meme in random locations, especially when people who play tank just want to play fucking ball, you know? And I don't know, you just don't, like, you don't have anybody to peel back for you. It's all just, like, the fights start and end so quickly sometimes, or they go on forever, because it just seems as if though, like, there's almost like an added additional 25% amount of pressure added to fucking the tank's choices on how to progress, and the DPS, you know. And if they suck, it's like, what the fuck? I mean, sometimes I'll play Zen and, you know, pop off, but play TF2, only game that matters. I do need to do that. I need to just give it a try. just for the shits and gigs. You're about to play it and listen to the Sweet Hornet. Well, Majin Rufio, good luck getting into a match. I heard they got DDoSed as well, so the people were having problemos trying to get in. The whole thing, I don't know. I don't know. The pacing of the game is just so much different now, and especially for, like, I don't even know what was the map we were on, Junker Town, and it was, it's just like fucking Widow Alley. Like, Widowmaker is just, there's no damage fall off. She just has infinite line of sight, and there's no, like, the multiple shields, even though they are annoying. It was nice. It was a nice way to shut down, like, a sight line for her, and now she just is free. Literally just, like, free. It's pretty much up to her, like, fucking skill level and whether she can actually hit her shots. And most of the time they can, because they wasted 6 years of their life playing that stupid fucking character. So, bro, I don't even know. Not too optimistic about Overwatch 2 and all of its, because it's like, sure, it feels exciting, oh, it's the second one, but all it really is like, it's just a big patch. It's just a literally big patch, and that's all it is, and everybody get in a restructuring of their monetization system. That's all it fucking is. A big patch, monetization system restructuring, and you pretty much played all the heroes already, but it's even more frustrating because you're just like, I don't know. We'll see. I'll probably still play it because of being addicted to it, like heroin, but not in a good way. The bad kind of heroin. All right, let's read some spooky stories, shall we? Want to watch Smile? That's out now. Any good? Smile, what's that about? I think I saw that advertised. I was confused. I was like, Jesus Christ, are we just straight up doing creepypastas now for movies? You just resent the picture of Chico. All right, let's check this out. Twitter. Oh, did you see Twitter was getting bought out by Elon Muskington? You resent the picture of Chico. Oh, there it is. Oh, what a cutie. On a star blanket. That's cute. Floating through space. Alright, let me finish this tea. And why not do creepypastas? I don't know. I guess because, like, creepypasta, when I think of creepypastas for, like, Hollywood horror movies, maybe it could be fun. If it's, like, fun to go see, sure. But sometimes I just feel like creepypastas in and of themselves are kind of, like, lower tier end horror ideas, just kind of like one-offs for, like, maybe, like, quick anthologies or something, just kind of meme shit. Does he know it's free in the App Store? What's free in the App Store? The movie? You watched Barbarian last week? That one was good. What's that about? Never heard about that. Oh wait, Barbarian. Yeah, that's the one where they go in, like, the basement and shit like that. Buttersock Cult Prophet with the 10 buccarinos says, I've had a vision. I had a dream that Jacob was standing on his throne dominating the invaders, but I also had a dream of Jolene on Jacob's throne. Jacob's daughter will be a future queen of the cult. Oh my God. The prophet has spoken. Jacob, what say you? Do you believe the prophecy true? Oh, does he know that's free on the App Store? Oh yeah, the Twitter. Yeah, I know, right? $44 billion when you just download it. Easy peasy. It's kind of weird though. It's like, what is the purpose of buying it? Is it like, does he feel that he's going to open up, the spectrum of conversation more so, and that's worth $44 billion? Maybe, especially being so close to, like, midterms. But at the same time, wouldn't it, I don't know. It just seems like so much money, you know what I mean? I guess people could argue, like, But like, or is it going to be used in sort of the same way that like Jeff Bezos uses the Washington Post? Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post, so like he can kind of use that as like his frontline propaganda to sell whatever it is he wants to sell to the people about himself or about, whatever is politically convenient and that kind of thing. So I'm kind of thinking to myself, maybe in a similar fashion, Elon can use that to control discourse that is guided towards his companies and that kind of thing. But at the same time, it's not like it's not like curated content the way that it's not the same way that like a newspaper outlet sort of operates, you know what I mean? Hence why they exist on that like Section 230 sort of like gray line on the fact that they can ban everybody, but then they also can not be held liable for what's on their platform, you know what I mean? So I don't fucking know. I guess at the end of the day, I don't give a shit. But I just want to look at memes online. I don't give a fuck about people's dumb opinions. I don't think I've ever seen a take that's not absolutely just covered in slime. As Hollywood scriptwriters take stories off of Reddit and make them into movies like Bullet Train or other new release movies like Sylvester Stallone's new superhero movie. Probably, dude. See ya, Kimberly, no worries. It's like a character study. What have you found, Catherine? Have you broken me down into multiple moving parts? I'm just a bunch of small little aliens wearing a large furry suit. Anyways, let me bring this microphone down just a tad to my face. Wonk. Okay, we're clear. I went to Penn State, which, relatively speaking, is in a pretty rural area, and almost completely surrounded by trees. The town of State College itself is real nice, and I know this might make me sound like a douche, but I'm from Manhattan, so the younger me thought the relative isolation was pretty lame initially. At least that was until I actually got out onto some of the trails with a classmate of mine. Then, over the course of maybe 3 or 4 months, I developed a huge passion for the outdoors. My friends back home were stunned, as they'd never have guessed in a million years that I'd turn out to be one of those trail-hungry hiking enthusiasts that we only ever usually saw on our Insta timelines. I think it was all down to having hiked up and down the Loyalsock Trail, which was about an hour's drive away from my area. My buddy ended up inviting me this one time, and I was just bored out of my mind, so I figured I'd join him. Little did I know that, but a few months later, I'd be suggesting that we hike the whole 50-something miles of the trail over the course of 4 or 5 days. My roomie turned hiking buddy used to be an Eagle Scout, so he had way more experience in the woods than I did. Nighttime on our first few trips basically consisted of me hearing spooky noises like coyotes, raccoons, or owls, then freaking out until he assured me that there was really nothing to be scared of. Jesus, I'm talking like a little kid. I'm scared. Just found my channel tonight. Love it. Oh, thank you, Jennifer. Well, welcome. During the live streams, you get to listen to me record the stories that come out tomorrow. You went to Penn State. Well, I went to State Penn. Oh shit, a Biggie reference. Nice. Nighttime on our first few trips basically consisted of me hearing spooky noises like coyotes, raccoons, or owls, then freaking out until he assured me that there was really nothing to be scared of. He always said there were really only 2 things you had to worry about out in Pennsylvania: black bears and bobcats. Everything else you would more or less deal with. But later, on our 4-day hiking trip through Loyalsock, we found out that there's something else you should worry about when in the middle of nowhere, and that's other people. By the end of day 2 of our trip, we were about 20 miles into the trail, and with us being in a particularly dense part of Loyalsock, we were able to pitch our tent in this real secluded spot about 100 meters off the trail. I'm really annoyed tonight. It's totally unrelated to the stream, but I'm still waiting for more beach stories. Okay. You're annoyed that you're not getting your beach story fix. By the end of day 2 of our trip, we're about 20 miles into the trail, and with us being in a particularly dense part of Loyalsock, we're able to pitch our tent in this real secluded spot about 100 yards off the trail. It was next to impossible to spot our campsite while walking on the trail, so we thought we were pretty safe in that respect. Only thing was, the spot we picked out was a kind of miniature peninsula where a creek met a river, so although that was great for getting fresh water, it meant that there was only one way into our camp and only one way out. Anyway, we set up camp, started a fire, cooked ourselves some food, then took turns sipping a little sour mash while we watched the fire burn down. By the time it was just embers, all was quiet, apart from the ambient forest noises, of course, and since it was coming to the end of spring, it was just about warm enough to make for comfortable sleeping. I know I slept for at least a few hours because one minute it was coming up on midnight, and the next time I checked my watch, it was just past 2 in the morning. I rolled over in my sleeping bag, then tried to get back to sleep, but then the next thing I know, I'm hearing the really faint sound of people talking, and it sounded like it was coming from the direction of the trail. My first thought was, who hikes at 2 in the morning? And when I realized that they weren't actually passing us, and were just hanging around on the trail near our campsite, I started to get really nervous. I mean, we were in the middle of nowhere by that point, and the nearest town was maybe 3 or 4 miles away. If anything happened to us all the way out there, we'd basically be screwed. I slowly get out of my sleeping bag, then slowly unzip my tent, trying to make a fuck. Sex cult leader with the 10 says, "Look at all of you in live chat. I have destroyed every cult in the world except for this one. I will end Jacob's reign as the King of Kings. Jacob, if you lose me, Joel's career is over. If you lose to me, Joel's career is over." Holy shit, Jacob, don't lose, man. I can't afford this, bro. Don't let me down, brother. And Rachel Beaver with the 5 says, "You're the best narrator on YouTube." Thank you, Rachel. I do be trying. No, I'm not annoyed at that. It's something else unrelated to your stream. I'm also just waiting for more of those stories too. Okay, sick. I'll have to look into that. Is Jacob a Bible reference? No, Jacob Bowling is a human being that exists in this stream. And I believe he was in here and then disappeared. He's a bit of an ongoing anime villain. The Jacob arc. Your accent is relaxing. Great Britain accents aren't so good. That's interesting, because, like, I guess it would be the opposite. You know, over here, like, everybody creams their pants to, like, British accents and stuff like that. But I guess at the end of the day, it's, you know, you kind of just want something different, so it makes sense. Yeah, Jacob's a hallucination of mine. I made multiple accounts. I made Jacob, I made Stephanie, I made up Jolene, and I just have like 15 computers next to me with all my different accounts, like donating and creating conversation. Galactic Bitch with a 5 said, "Joel, hi cult. Much love and hope everyone's having a great night." Thank you, Galactic Bitch. Appreciate ya. Ooh, Aussie accents. Bullshit. Alright. I slowly get out of my sleeping bag, then slowly unzip my tent, trying to make as little noise as possible. And then the second I emerge from my tent, I see my friend peeking out of his tent in the exact same way. The moon was really bright that night, and although I couldn't exactly see him perfectly, I could see enough to know that as soon as I looked at him, he basically moved a finger to his mouth, telling me to keep quiet. Then he used the same hand to motion in the direction of the trail. Seconds later, the voices go silent, but they're replaced by the sound of footsteps getting louder and louder as whoever it was got closer and closer to us. Then, we see them. There were 4 dark shapes, moving slowly and quietly directly towards our camp. They had no lights. They're obviously trying not to be heard, and although I couldn't quite tell how big they were or what they looked like, the fact they outnumber us was enough to have me straight up panicking. I shot back inside my tent, not really caring if they could hear me at that point, and immediately grabbed the survival knife that I kept stashed under my bedroll. It wasn't much in terms of something to defend myself with, as the blade was only maybe 3 inches long, but it was either that or just rely on my fists. We were then forced to watch as the dark shapes walked right up onto our campsite. Then all just stood there for a moment before my buddy finally switched on his flashlight and shined it in their direction. Instantly, this one guy was like, "Get that flashlight off me." But I got a good enough look at the group to know that they were not your average happy-go-lucky trail walkers. I then asked the group what they wanted, and they didn't answer us for a few seconds. They just sort of looked at each other in the low light before the same guy spoke up again, asking if we had any food to spare. Having packed as lightly as possible for the long trip, we only had a few extra Mountain House MRE-style meals. I remember neither of us responded at first, and I know we both had a really bad feeling that these people wanted way more than just food. But eventually, I kind of backed up in my tent and fished around for one of my MREs. When I then tossed it in front of the group while still holding my survival tight in my... Fuck. Jacob with the 10 says, "Let me get this straight. The sex cult leader wants me to fight him for me to lose to him and end Joel's career? The sex cult leader is as clumsy as he is stupid. The answer is no." Thank you, Jacob. I'm glad you saw through that, because me, as soon as I saw that donation, I thought everything was going to be over. I thought I'd have to shut the stream down, delete all the videos one by one, maybe start posting feet pics on fucking OnlyFans. I don't know. Me and Tyga could have did a collab on there. It would have been sick. But, unfortunately, I continue onward. Thanks to your quick thinking, Jacob. Thank you. Joel, no disrespect. I don't mind if you're married or with anyone, but I need you to marry me so you can talk me to sleep every night. Your narrating voice is phenomenal. Thank you. Deanna. Fiona. Hi, kitty. Pradeep is in the building, and he seems very focused on pushing his head into my leg as a nice little greeting. Hello. Hello. Stinky. You sit here. Good boy. Stay here. There you go. Thomas Fries with the 5 says, "I fell asleep to the Missing 401 live stream and had some strange dreams." Oh my god, maybe premonitions. You saw where they were missing. Pradeep. Oh, yeah, he's actually staying put. Which I then tossed in front of the group while still holding my survival knife tight in my hand. I think my suspicions were pretty much confirmed when one of the group just picked the food up and held on to it. You'd think that someone hungry enough to beg for food would just devour any given to them right then and there. But these guys didn't seem even remotely appreciative or in need of the food we gave them. They obviously wanted something else. After we gave them the food, I didn't think that they'd just thank us and walk away, and I was proven right on that one. The group of 4 just stood there in complete silence as the tension in the air ramped up. The silence was only broken again when my buddy asked them why they were out so late. They told us it was better to hike late at night, which is most definitely not true. Then, when we asked them why they weren't using a flashlight, they told us that they didn't need one, and that they knew the trail well enough to navigate it in the darkness. Now, on paper, this might sound like harmless, even friendly conversation, but I can promise you, the tone of the guy's voice, who was the only one who ever spoke, was definitely not friendly. It was this dry, emotionless tone, with just a hint of mischief to it, almost like the guy was enjoying the fact that here were the... Enjoying the fact that here the... Oh. Suh, dude, what's up, Owen? Whereabouts in America, US am I from? I'm from Pennsylvania. This is my first live stream and it's great to play some chill games too. What game are you playing, Zorro? If I adopt another cat, I would love to adopt a black cat. You should get black. Yeah, black cats are the best cats. It was funny, like a couple days ago, my mum, she was at the old farm and she texts me, she says, Joel, would you like a nice little sweet kitty to add to your collection? And I said no. So technically I could have almost had another cat, but I really don't think I could handle, like, I don't even know how I would raise another cat, to be honest. It'd be such a weird, out of nowhere thing. Christnopolis with the 5 gifted memberships. Welcome, Tom, Cecilia 21, Z, Joshua Jackson, and Ella Thompson to the Butter Sock Cult. You now have access to bonus content, and be sure to thank Christnopolis. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate that. 5 gifters. Thank you. And Mammy Kitten with a 2 says, yum yum sugar buns, you rock, Jimmy Neutron. That sounds like a Pulp Fiction reference, even though I guess Jimmy Neutron wouldn't be existent. Jacob with the 10 says, Joel, you are my brother when it comes to your career, and I'm not going to waste a loss to an idiot like the sex cult leader. Joel, I will always have your back, and that's why I'm loyal to you. Thank you, Jacob. It's not worth your time, Jacob. Just keep your head high, man. Don't deal with their baloney. If anybody says some weird junk, you just say, you're full of baloney. Easy win in my book. Hearing Pencil Tunky makes you laugh. Yeah, that's always how I kind of envisioned it. Oh, that's your hubby's nickname at work. Oh, okay. What's his nickname? Jimmy Neutron. That's funny. He must have some good hair. Thank you for the podcast. You helped me sleep so much faster. Well, hey, you. Good to see you. And no problem. I got you. Also, there is a new podcast out today, or there was, every Tuesday at noon EST. So be sure to check out the new one. It's called Worst Field Trip Ever. Worst Field Trip Ever. How would Pradeep act with another kitty? He probably would be a bit of a bully. Any other cat I've ever seen him see or interact with, he bullies them. He does play with them, but he is a bit rough, you know what I mean? Like, anytime a cat has walked by, or even any animal has walked by a window, he's like instantaneously in hunting mode, like ready to kill it. And I took care of a girl from work. Like, she had a brother who needed a cat babysat for like 6 months. And, you know, they became close and stuff, but they would just wrestle all the time. And it was really funny. But Pradeep definitely fucking was the bully in that situation most of the time, usually antagonizing. Someone would call him the antagonist. They used to call him Punchy. Old Punchy. It was this dry, emotionless tone, with just a hint of mischief to it, almost like the guy was enjoying the fact that he could hear anxiety in our voices. He then asked if we had any money, and although we had a couple of He then asked us if we had any money, and although we had a couple of bucks each on us to spend when we finished our hike, we just told them no because we knew they'd just asked to have it. The guy is then like, "You sure you don't have any money?" Then before we can even answer, one of the other shapes speaks and... Hey, Beth. Thank you for the 2 months in the Buttersuck cult. Did your friends make it through the storm okay? They did. They were fortunate to be in an area in Florida that just barely missed them, the storm, so I was very thankful for that. And I, pretty much all my friends down in Florida, because I have a few, were spared, which is good. But some people, were not so lucky. And it's some pretty scary shit sometimes down there. Can't imagine have to deal with that shit every fucking year, Charlet, welcome back for a year. And the Buttersuck Call says, "Hey, so I ended up going with the same Rainbow Sparkle grams from my site, mostly because my old name accidentally got taken over by a softcore Smexy site." Interesting. Rainbow Sparkle grams. Yeah, what stuff did you make again? I remember hearing about the Rainbow Sparkle stuff in the past. Did I go to college in Florida? No. Just had friends that moved down there, and then some friends from YouTube, like Swamp Dweller. He was without power for a while. Hopefully he has power now. So yeah, you should definitely check up on him. He says he's doing well and he's hasn't lost anything, but it's just a pain in the dick because content creation on YouTube is that's his bread and butter. That's his livelihood, and having a storm just knock out your power kind of cuts that off for a while. So it's a little scary, but yeah, he's doing well. I think he was in a hotel, and for his birthday too, which was an interesting way to spend it. But and then Mr. X Dreams, he's down in Florida, but they're doing good. So I'm glad to hear that. Catherine, you had to evacuate Ian, and I'm still evacuated. Oh shit, I'm sorry, Catherine. Yeah, well, did your whole area get flooded, or? I'm sorry to hear that. Here in Jacksonville, we prepared for a lot more. The storm changed course the last minute. Yeah, it's weird. That stuff's scary. And the worst part is I heard that the insurance company, because it's down in Florida, there's no property, or what is it? There's no local or state tax, which is great, but then you pay out the ass for hurricane insurance, depending on where you're at. And then from what I heard, that the insurance company ended up declaring bankruptcy or defaulting or something like that, and then just don't have to pay anybody out for their shit. And it's just what the fuck? Literally one fucking, the exact thing that they were supposed to pay out for, and they're just oh, wait a second, never mind. We're just gonna go under and then find some legal means to come back from it or whatever. But I hope people sue the shit out of them, because that's, I don't know, some sort of class action lawsuit of sorts. That shit's pretty fucking fucked up. The guy is then "You sure you don't have any money?" Then before we can even answer, one of the other shapes speaks up and asks, "You guys got any girls with you?" That one really sent a chill through me. No man has ever asked that question with innocent intentions, and it gave us both an idea of what the group were really after. After telling them no, I really wanted to just ask them to leave, but at the same time I knew doing so would be a show of complete weakness. It was basically a standoff at that point. Either we did something to actually get them to want to leave, or they might just hang around until they got tired of checking us out and got to do something we really wouldn't want them to do. But right as I can feel myself starting to literally shake with adrenaline, my buddy says something like, "So you guys don't have food, don't keep a flashlight. Do you guys even have a gun?" At the word gun, each of the shapes turns to look in the direction of my buddy's tent. They didn't say anything in response. They just looked as if waiting for my buddy to produce one. We didn't actually have a gun with us at the time, just a can of bear mace for any wild animal encounters, but that didn't stop my buddy from talking a good game. "You guys don't have a gun," he continued. "Dude, it's not safe out here without one. I hear black bears get real hungry around this time of the year, so we always make sure to come here packing. Isn't that right?" I ended up murmuring something in the affirmative just to keep up the charade. Then I listened to my buddy yammering on nervously about how he was packing a rifle and a pistol while I had a shotgun stashed in my tent. Again, I just agreed and went along with it, and started to feel real hopeful when one of the shadowy group took the tiniest step backwards, as if they hadn't been expecting us to be armed. A few more moments of silence passed before one of the shapes who hadn't spoke yet whispered something really low to his group. I couldn't hear exactly what it was, but I can take a real good guess. But seconds later, the main guy said something like, "Well, we'd love to stay and talk, but I think we should be on our way." I breathed a huge sigh of relief at hearing that. Not literally, of course, but knowing we might have talked our way out of a very sticky situation was just a weight off my shoulders. As the group walked off, my buddy kept up the confident facade and then told them something like, "Well, that's a shame, but feel free to come back and visit during daylight tomorrow. It sure would be nice to see all your faces." "Yeah, maybe we'll do that," the guy responded, and I swear you could hear the frustration in his voice. They were obviously hoping we were just a couple of clueless hikers, which I suppose is exactly what we were, and that the planning and that they planning on either robbing us, beating us, or something bad like that. Okay. Jacob with the 10 says, "Joe, I have a lot of respect for you because you put a lot of work for us and some people don't appreciate you enough. Have you noticed that when I'm in the streams you get more viewers?" I don't know. Do you guys come here for... do you guys just have, like, when Jacob gets on, you're like, you kind of get like sort of like birds that can tell where the North Pole is. You guys just kind of flock to Jacob, or rather the King of Kings, should I say? They were obviously hoping we were just a couple of clueless hikers, which I suppose is exactly what we were, and that they were planning on either robbing us, beating us, or something bad like that. And they couldn't risk it if we had guns, though, and they knew it. Even if they had ones themselves, they must have been relying on the prospect of us being unarmed, scared, and helpless. You know, as they say, have a monopoly on violence. As soon as they were out of sight, we got to packing up our camp as quickly and quietly as we could. At one point, I remember whispering to my buddy about how they might still be watching or listening to us, and this was his cue to start bluffing again. He started talking loudly about how much ammo we had left, how I should be careful with that shotgun as we were packing up. He even threw out, "Those guys were lucky I didn't just light them up as soon as they walked into camp. I don't know what the hell they were thinking rolling up in the middle of the night like that." I definitely felt a little more nervous at how seemingly confrontational he was being, but if it gave us a fighting chance of getting out of there without having to fight, it was good enough for me. To this day, what happened that night remains the creepiest, most unnerving thing that's ever happened to me on a hiking trip, and I've been on so many that I've literally lost count at this point. I always bring a gun with me these days, whenever I'm able to anyway, because, God forbid, if anything like that ever happens again, I don't want to have to bluff about being able to protect myself. Coco the Monkey, what's going on? Oh, you're here for me. Oh, okay, I appreciate that. Ren Haven, welcome to the Buttersock Cult, you now have access to bonus content. Thank you, thank you. I'm here because I believe Joel is actually Pradeep narrating these stories, and Pradeep is actually named Joel. We've switched places. I'm a giant, hairy Khajiit creature from Skyrim. I played a little Skyrim the other day. Not very long, though. Just enough for, like, some really janky glitches to happen, and then I was like, alright, I'm done. Or, like, I think I wandered into a cave that I shouldn't have and got absolutely rolled by some random wizard. But there was something, you know, pleasantly enjoyable about just the absolute freedom that Skyrim gave you. Just this storytelling that it presented without actually saying any words. I don't know. Like, I remember, you know, you would go into those caves, maybe actually end up killing that wizard, and then just kind of like going through all of his belongings, going through the books that are on his shelves and kind of reading those. You know, there was just like so many like nuanced levels of immersion in that type of game that even though it's like 11 years old, which is crazy. I remember when it came out, it was 2011. But man, it was fucking good time. Also, I watched, I don't know if you guys seen this movie on Netflix. It's called Beasts of No Nation. And it's basically about child soldiers in Africa. I forget which country it was happening in, like the civil war that was occurring. I think it was Liberia, maybe. But man, it's like one of those movies that just, especially since the main character is like a kid, you know what I mean? And, you know, just seeing the character development. Like, you really don't see people in movies ever really having to make tough decisions. And it's sometimes like becoming evil, you know, especially evil in the sense to preserve themselves and that kind of thing. And I don't know. That's what made it so powerful, is realizing that like what a reality it is. And just really, really sad. Really, really sad movie. Kiera McCourt, welcome back for 37 months. Holy cow. This is how many stories in which we're on. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 stories, and that was story 1. So we're on story numero 20. And these should be pretty dang good tonight. Librarian, yeah. He was from Libraria. The Civil War happening in everybody's library. Kiera McCourt with the 5 says, glad to catch a stream. Percival is here in my lap and we're snuggled up, relaxing to your great stories. Well, thank you, Kiera. Always good to see you. It's so good to see familiar names and stuff. I don't know. It kind of makes me feel like I'm, you know, at home. Tree Flash, 21 in less than 2 hours. 21 what? 21 Savage. You see they got the John Wayne Gacy thing on Netflix? Yeah. I did see that too. I saw that and I saw the Jeffrey Dahmer thing and I'm like, Jesus Christ, everyone's obsessed with serial killers. How long do you think the stream will be? You know, it's usually like 3 hours or so. 3 to 4 hours. I've had a stalker for about 4 years. He was never aggressive or sent me proper threats, so stubborn as I am, I did my best to ignore him and not give him the satisfaction of showing him any fear. To be honest, after a while I also wasn't scared anymore since he almost never came close to me. I know being stalked can affect people severely even in a case like mine, and that's totally valid, but I guess I just got lucky and was never really psychologically affected by it. His stalking behavior mostly just consisted of sending me letters and gifts, such as photos of my own apartment building from the outside, things he dug out of my trash can, and so on. I called the police many times, but they weren't able to, or really tried, to be honest, to catch or identify him. About 3 weeks ago, I discovered the German version of r/I am I am a. Oh, 40,000 in the queue right now. Oh, you're turning 21, Tree Flesh. Well, happy early birthday to you. Let's go. Let's go. Joe, you still gonna challenge that volcano? What volcano? Either way, yes, I'm jumping in. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. People seem to be just like morbidly fascinated with... obviously, take a look at my channel. Morbidly fascinated with the darker sides of reality. So it makes sense why they make that. I guess in some ways it's just kind of weird, like the dramatization of it. Almost, in many ways you do want to see how someone becomes who they were, in the same way that I enjoyed seeing the documentary of, the Beasts of No Nation with the child soldiers, because you empathize with the soldiers, but they also did some really fucked up shit. And it's weird, even though you see it, because you're connected to them, you sort of have to still enjoy them. But I guess in similar fashion, they kind of give you a perspective of Dahmer and those guys from more of a human perspective. What is the best scary movie? I guess none of them are very good, to be honest with you. Hey, it's Tyler with the 5 says, are you a beef or chicken kind of guy? Definitely chicken. I just think chicken's easier to eat. I do like beef too. When I was growing up as a kid, whenever I would get ramen and, ramen noodles, I would always ask for the chicken flavoring. So I guess just like chicken broth tasted better to me as well. And I don't know why the beef flavor it never tickled my fancy. About 3 weeks ago, I discovered the German version of r/IMA and thought that people might want to know about what it's like having a stalker. Since I barely use any social media aside from Reddit and have no personally identifying information here, I didn't think that he'd ever see it. One person even asked, doesn't he know you're putting him on blast on Reddit? And I answered, maybe. Maybe it would make him angry. Maybe he'd be turned on. I don't know. Don't care. Well, I know the real answer now. He did see it, and he did not like it. Like I said, he was never aggressive and never came close to me. The closest I know of was when he sent me a picture of myself unlocking my apartment door, taken from the corner of my steps above. Sorry if that doesn't make sense, I'll continue to explain here, but I consider myself a pretty vigilant person, and I'm thinking that he might have hid a camera there instead of being there to take the photo himself. I think I would have noticed him if he did. I don't know how he got wind of the AMA. What's up, Carly? I don't know how he got wind of the AMA, but he did. The next week was quiet. No letters, and I didn't see him anywhere. Then he left me letters with printed out questions and my questions from the AMA. He also left me a long, hateful letter towards my boyfriend about an issue I had posted on the German version of AITA. His letters were never hateful like that, though he never seemed happy with my boyfriend. He wrote about how I should share the spotlight with him since I got so much attention thanks to him. A few days later, I got a gift, but this time he didn't leave it in my mailbox or at my car like he usually did. No. This time he left it inside the apartment building right in front of my door. I didn't take it inside my apartment, but opened it up outside. It was a pretty big box, which was also unusual, and it was taped shut. As I'm typing it out, I realized that it wasn't a good idea at all, and could have ended really badly for me, but lucky he didn't send me a bomb or anything. He did, however, send me several zip ties, a roll of tape, the kind you use to tape off walls when painting, nothing you could use to restrain someone, a TV remote with most buttons picked off, a pack of Band-Aids with a few used ones, not actually, just made to look like that way according to the police, and a framed picture of me. I could tell the picture was taken a few days ago and my boyfriend was next to me but cut out the photo. The frame was shattered and the package was full of glass shards, clearly more than just what could have fallen out of the frame, and they were also intentionally put inside the crumpled newspaper that was stuffed in there to keep it all in place. I called the police right away and gave it to them. They were more concerned this time, finally, thank God, and told me that they'd send patrol cars more frequently. He didn't show up or leave me any letters or gifts for about another week and a half, but 8 days ago, it started again. I found letters in my mailbox where he wrote about how he wasted his time on me, how I haven't been appreciating his effort, how he was wrong about me being special. 5 days ago, I left my apartment in the morning and I heard a crunch sound as I stepped on my doormat. He put broken glass under it in the night. I went off to work because I was in a hurry and was just going to make my boyfriend call the police, but when I found my car... fuck. Yeah, at least it wasn't a bomb. Definitely don't open it though. I feel like if you get a random package that you don't know it's from and there's no marking, it's just like, oh, what's in here? Dead. You are dead. I will say, Joel, out of the hundreds of thousands to millions of scary stories out there, and out of the tens to 100+ stories I've listened, I've never heard a story of a stalker stalking a serial killer or similar. A stalker stalking a serial killer. Yeah, that would be interesting. Imagine, like, taking pleasure in it, you know what I mean? You, like, know who they are and you always know where they're going. But they're stalking, yeah. But you're stalking them. I'm stalking you, stalking me. Stalking you, stalking me. Sweet stalker line. Blah, blah, blah. Ever gone camping or hunting with my friends? Yep. I have. Not really hunting. I guess I've been along for the ride with hunting, but I haven't hunted in a long time. But I definitely go hiking quite a bit and camping and stuff. I went off to work because I was in a hurry and was just going to make my boyfriend call the police, but then I found my car had also been vandalized. The sides were scratched, lights smashed, and the windshield had a phrase painted on it. It's time soon, miss, and then my last name. I went back inside and called the cops myself. They found the same phrase on a note under the doormat. This time they really, really, really took me seriously, which might have been because I was just angry at that point, which I made very clear. If for some reason you're like me and just too stubborn to be afraid of a stalker like mine, then all of this, the letters, gifts, photos, even the glass under my doormat, are just really annoying and inconvenient. But my car was useless to me now, and the threat actually scared me. I did, however, have a dash cam in my car, and it caught everything. The police said it took footage of that. The police said they'd take the footage as evidence, even though the dashcam footage wasn't of high quality, and I had given them photos of him that were just as good as before, but they said it's not enough, and they told me that they'll look into it further and promised to send more patrol cars again. And then it was quiet for 2 more days. Until 2 days ago, someone rang the doorbell at just after 4 a.m. My boyfriend and I got up, but we were both hesitant, but I saw blue lights outside, and just as I got up, I heard them shouting, "This is the police. Please open the door." They told us that they were called by one of our downstairs neighbors who came home from his night shift about a few hours earlier and heard someone else enter the building after them right before they felt the door shut. My neighbors know of my situation, and I asked them to make sure that they don't let strangers into the building. This neighbor then went into his own apartment and looked through the peephole. We have motion-activated lights in the stairways, so he waited to see if they turned back on, and they did. Then he saw a middle-aged man walk upstairs. Above this neighbor is only me and my boyfriend, and a single mom with 3 kids who probably won't be getting any visitors at 3 a.m., so we called the police. They came and found my stalker 1/2 floor above me on the stairs. He should have been able to see the cop cars since there is a little window up there, and there had... God. Maybe if I squeeze this, yeah. I feel like the text was like too fucking spread out. It made it hard to read. They came and found my stalker 1/2 floor above me on the stairs. He should have been able to see the cop cars since there's a little window up there, and they had their lights on, but he either missed them or wanted to get caught. They found a pocket knife on him, and he confessed to being my stalker right away. He's finally caught. They got him. It took 4 years, a provocative Reddit post, and one very vigilant and caring neighbor, but he's finally done. For now, at least. He's facing several charges, and I've collected every single piece of evidence over the past 4 years. I don't know what kind of outcome I can expect, but for now, I've finally got some peace. Oh, man. Love listening to these stories while driving my semi on dark back roads. Yeah, that sounds kind of peaceful, honestly. I feel like whenever you know that you're in control, it's almost like you're almost like more inclined to look for the darkness, you know what I mean? Almost as if though you like desire a challenge or something of that nature. I suppose. Maybe not at all. I'm a 28-year-old female and have lived in the same apartment for 4 years. My neighbors in the unit above me are a couple in their 30s who have lived there for about 3 years with no issues between us. During the past 6 months, I've noticed some changes in their behaviors. At first, it was just a few days per week. I'd hear music with heavy bass accompanied by rhythmic jumping. I assumed they bought an exercise bike or something, but sometimes the jumping gets so intense that it shakes my overhead light fixtures. The jumping routine had been escalating to the point that it takes place every... Stormwave with a 10 buckaroo. Thank you, Stormwave. Says, there's a weird webcomic out there about 2 high school students who are stalking each other, finding out, and entering a toxic but wholesome relationship together. That's funny. That sounds like the perfect anime. Thank you, Storm. Appreciate you. The best things happen in the dark. The jumping routine has been escalating to the point that it takes place every day, normally between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. I also noticed that they called 1-800-JUNK and got rid of a lot of nice possessions. However, I figured none of this was my business, so I kept my observations to myself. About 3 weeks ago, everything escalated. Multiple times per week, on weekdays and during working hours, it sounds like they're hosting a mini Burning Man event in their apartment. The music is so loud and clear that it sounds as if though I'm at a concert while sitting in my living room. There's clearly a lot of people involved because the jumping and stomping shakes multiple... Whoops. Is it difficult to read? Sometimes. Sometimes I'll be on a roll, sometimes I'll just, just not be on the same page as the author and just kind of get lost. But it's definitely easier the second time. Some people say you should read these beforehand, but I can't. It would take too fucking long. There's clearly a lot of people involved because the jumping/stomping shakes multiple... There's clearly a lot of people involved because the jumping and stomping shakes multiple light... This is a weird one. There's clearly a lot of people involved because the jumping and stomping shakes multiple light fixtures and cabinets. The music is a mix of new age and spiritual vibes, dance beats, and a male voiceover giving weird instructions like rebrand yourself, surrender yourself, stomp stomp in response. I've taken audio recordings on my phone and one video from the hallway during these events, and I still didn't complain to the building, but I wanted evidence in case it became a regular thing. This week, I've encountered a big problem. The couple above me has a private patio, which is directly above my bedroom. I came home from a 3-day trip out of town yesterday, and my ceiling is legitimately collapsing in one corner. Big chunks of plaster had fallen to the ground, and I saw a little water. I immediately called my superintendent, since I don't want to be buried alive by ceiling rubble if it gives out. When he came to check it out, he was shocked and livid. He said that the woman in the couple appears to be working with some people doing workshops or something. He can see their patio from his apartment window and has watched the group do these dancing and jumping and dirt rituals out there on a weekly basis. He said they all dance and jump to the music and then spread dirt, along with something else, he doesn't know what it is, across the patio on a weekly basis. He believes that the dirt, or this unknown substance combination, is getting through the wooden cracks, absorbing water, and weighing down my ceiling. In order to fix my problem, my super has said that he had to go talk to the woman, check out their patio, and ultimately hire a contractor to pull up the wood to scrape out whatever the hell is causing my ceiling to fall. I could hear them talking from my room, and the woman sounded distraught and defensive. When my super left, he called me and warned me that she might try to come down to my apartment and demand to see the damage, but don't let her in. There was like a little concern. Horror on the Rocks with the 5 says, any tips on ways to improve the narrator voice? I'm still trying to figure it out and can't seem to stay consistent. I don't know. I guess if you go back and look at like my oldest videos and then maybe go forward in time a little bit to like 2016 or 17, and you'll hear the change from like sort of generally talking like a little buzzy bee who wants to just make everyone happy and have a good time on NPR, to then like going to like, this was a little concerning to me. Is she a threat? The damage is real. I wouldn't mind. You know, so it was like almost as if though I kind of like went too hard into it for the creepy shit. And then eventually I told myself that I'm just going to like try to keep the bassy tone in the voice but also make it sound sort of natural. And then I was able to kind of maintain that, I guess, like through practice, because obviously practice, I guess, is just what it is. But at the end of the day, you just kind of want it to feel natural, but also something you can maintain. And, you know, you also hear me, like, my voice will squeak at times, a bit of a squeaker. And I think that, I think that's because it's just not my natural tone to, like, always be down in the depths of the demon layer, you know what I mean? But yeah, you'll figure it out. It just takes some time, and then you also have to, like, gauge what your audience says, like, they like, you know, they like that, or they don't like that, or you know what I mean? And then you just, it's sort of like playing those like little silly mini games in video games where you have to, did you ever play the Punisher? In this one Punisher game, you would like have to interrogate people, but you had to keep it like within this sort of like little zone so that you didn't actually like put the guy's head into the fucking meat grinder all the way, which I always thought was really funny. It's like, he's in complete control of this person's body, trying to like torture them just enough to get information from them or like complete a mission or some shit like that, But then I always thought it was just really funny that once in a while he was just like, whoops, and fucking like has his head crushed by a fucking rhino. You know what I mean? It just didn't make any sense. Whoopsie daisies. Pushed too far there, I guess. Even though I have either have Parkinson's, or I should have had complete motor control, but I guess not. You wish it was getting cold there, still in the 90s? That's true too, my voice finally broke. It was all the puberties that I went through. The pooperties. If you can't stay consistent, it's because you're out of your range. That's true too, yeah. It definitely makes it a lot easier if you're just within like an area that feels natural, you know, for sure. Jacob with the vibes. Did you ever wonder how I found your channel? I found your channel, though, through Mort. I thought you were Mort. Joel, you are amazing and a good friend. Good night. Oh, thank you, Jacob. And good night. Do you ever get sore throat because you have a Joel voice and then a reading voice? Yeah, I think so. I mean, especially during the streams, like as time goes on, I'll start to crack more, especially since I'm like not just reading the whole time, I'm like talking to you guys as well. But thank God I got this bee goo spray. My voice is a panty dropper. Every time I open my mouth, oh, everybody's panties just explode. I've actually gone to jail multiple times because of it. I'm like, sir, what the fuck technology do you have? You were destroying people's underpants. I swear, officer, I swear. It's ancient alien Nazi technology that we dug up, and I implanted it into my mouth. Joel, if people narrated these stories in a zany, wacky, cartoony voice, would that be a disrespectful to what's going on in these stories? This was a little concerning to me. Is she a threat? The damage is real. I wouldn't mind showing her. She started playing her music, or again, relatively loud, kind of like a warning shot. I don't know, does that sound disrespectful at all? It seems normal. It seems like what the author would have intended, in my opinion. S.J. Curtis, do you have a favorite vowel? Let's see. A-E-I-O-U. Wait. A-E-I-O-U, right? A-E-I-O-U, and sometimes Y. I'd like to say Y, but I can't. When I was younger and people told me like sometimes Y as the vowel, I didn't like Y. I wasn't a fan of Y. I knew that Y had to exist, and I knew it had its uses, but I certainly wasn't on its inner circle of appreciators, you know. I wasn't part of the Y cult. All those people who just, you know, like say like swimmingly, even though that wouldn't be one. What would be a sky? You know, you write sky, you're like sky. I'm not excited to write that weird little line down the line thing, you know, 100 fucking times. I don't have respect for Y. I ain't got fuck Y. Y can eat shit. I'm more of a U guy. I'm fucking U-ing up and down that U, doing like vert ramp skateboard moves, dude. Hitting the 900 inside of that U. Fucking nasty. You go down a Y, you hit a fucking, you know, you go into the bowl on a Y. There's no bowl. You're just going right into fucking concrete. You're dead. Kiara Court with the 2 says you have a very soothing voice. Thank you, Kiara. Appreciate you. How do you say your name, Lynn? Lion. We'll call you Lion. Loon. Can I try and say your name? Wildney. Is it Wildney? Wildney? I'm thinking Wildney. I can't imagine it would be Wild. Or Wildeny. Wildeny? Yeah, I'm thinking Wildeny. Joel, today I learned that Ohio and Pennsylvania have the most Amish people. Do you actually encounter Amish people on the roads often? Not super often, but yeah, you will, as you get into more rural areas, for sure. And they're good people, you know what I mean? They might need some deodorant, but they're good people, you know? This was a little concerning to me. Is she a threat? The damage is real. I wouldn't mind showing her. She started playing her music again relatively loud, kind of like a warning shot. I mentioned the music and jumping to the super and said that I had audio recordings, and he started begging me to send the evidence to the front office. It sounds like he wants them evicted. I said, okay, sure. I hate to be a rat, but if I had to choose sides, I'd side with the building that dictates my annual rent price. And he called me twice more that afternoon to confirm that I'd shared my evidence, and I said yes. Shortly after everything went down, I left my apartment to run an errand. The woman was outside just standing on the sidewalk and stared at me the whole time as I walked by. I ignored her. This isn't my fault. Now today, I went to run another quick errand in the neighborhood, and when I returned, the couple was again standing on the sidewalk, both of them this time, and they followed me into the building, and then waited until I was opening my apartment door to confront me. They were both wearing creepy fake smiles. The woman has her... What the fuck is this? The woman has... Stephanie Bowling with the 5 says, Joel, listen to this. I'll be listening to you, and Jolene will go to sleep. Can you do a goofy impression? What's Jolene up to? Good? Boo, Stephanie Bowling. Stephanie Bowling. That's terrible, but whatever. Yeah, how's Jacob? Oops. How's Jacob's quadricep surgery? How did that surgery go? Wait. Good. Hey. We just need to cut out a few pieces. I can't do it. I don't fucking know. They were both wearing creepy fake smiles. The woman has horse girl hair down to her waist and started interrogating me. They asked, is your ceiling really collapsing? When did it start? Do you think it was related to the recent rainfall? Because our patio is just fine. I was a little uncomfortable. Were they waiting for me outside? How did they know that I even left the building? Why were they both standing there? I've literally never seen them enter together in their 3 years of living here. But I have nothing to hide, so I confirmed the damage is pretty bad. I just don't want it to fall during the winter. And I'm sorry for the inconvenience, but hopefully the work will be done quickly for everyone's sake. They seemed satisfied enough, so I said for them to have a good day and shut my door. I'm getting the sense that they're nervous about what the contractors will find when they tear open their patio. I mean, what the F is up with the dirt rituals? Who are these people that she's working with? I don't know what they look like or why they're available to stomp around on weekdays. The repair work has started on both sides, but the contractors will come on Wednesday for the grand reveal of what's under the patio that's making my ceiling collapse. In the meantime, I feel like I need to be alert and keep my eyes out for these people as well as the couple. It's usually for me to see them and it's unusual. Good. It's unusual. Raven with the 5 months says, hi there. Can you do a narration in Scooby-Doo's voice? Thank you. Let's see. What does Scooby sound like again? Roro Raggy. It's unusual for me to see them in the general. Especially twice in 2 days. They seem scared and in denial of the problem. They also literally ambushed me. Hopefully, it's over soon. It's kind of fucking terrible. But thank you for the 5 months and welcome back, Raven. Roro Raggy. Roof. That's so funny. People doing rituals upstairs. Stephanie Bowling with a 5 says, Joel, I listened to this. I'll be listening. Oh, you already did that. Yeah, sorry. Or sorry, this one. SJ Curtis with the 5 says, my 8th grade trip was to PA because 9/11 scared everyone from our DC trip. We saw the Liberty Bell and a bunch of Amish clothing lines so much better. That's interesting because there was a plane that crashed in Pennsylvania and where did the plane crash in PA 9/11? Shanksville, yeah, in Shanksville, PA, Flight 93, I guess. So yeah, obviously they weren't too concerned about that, were they? But thank you, SJ. And Stephanie Bowling with the 5 says, Jacob's quadriceps surgery went well. He had his stitches removed yesterday, and now it's a long process of physical therapy. Can you do a Herbert the Pervert? Sweet Jesus Christ. Can't believe y'all went to Pennsylvania. Didn't even think of Shanksville. You dumbass teachers completely forgot about Shanksville. It's kind of stupid if you ask me. Y'all could have got blown the fuck up. Sweet hammery, sweet bacon biscuits and cream. Alright, wait, oh shit, I forgot that. In the meantime, I feel like I need to be alert and keep my eyes out for these people, as well as the couple. It's unusual for me to see them in general, especially twice in 2 days. They seem scared and in denial of the problem. They also literally ambushed me, and hopefully it's over soon. My only question is, do I live below a cult leader? And did I just anger them? Can I do Popeye?
Oh, the worst 12 hours of me life. When I ran out of spinach, aka steroids.
I work in a deli, and Friday night I sliced my finger pretty badly, ended up in the ER and received liquid stitches. I keep bumping my finger into things and its pain is horrible. Oh, I'm sorry. That is annoying as hell. Yeah, they should fucking, when you work in the kitchen, they should give you like chainmail gloves. That'd be kind of sick. Oh, there was a conclusion of that story? Oh, fuck, there is. Oh, okay. Yeah, shit, my bad. Update. The contractors came today and reported that there was, in fact, dirt and sludge visible below the neighbor's patio. However, thanks to the help of my internet sleuthing friend, I've gained a lot more insight into the realm that dwells above me. As one Redditor suggested, and nice work, my neighbor is affiliated with multiple ecstatic dance communities, both international and local. The international group has planned events during which all cells of the organization host dance sessions simultaneously. It also has a YouTube channel that streams psytrance music 24/7. I've listened to a portion of it, and a female voiceover declared, "You are becoming the Game Master." Meanwhile, the local groups seem to be more exclusive and more radical in their mindset. One of the local groups, hosted by my neighbor's good friend, conducts 3-day events that cost upwards of $400 for admission. Participation in all 3 days is mandatory. I get the impression they all sleep in the studio space, and the event description mentions that it begins with a ritual. The last and darkest affiliation that I've confirmed via social media footprints is that my neighbor and a few members of the local communities are also involved with some compassionate death groups. There's no way for me to verify at this time if these affiliations overlap in a meaningful way, so I will simply state the facts that I have evidence to prove. My super asked me about the jumping again when I saw him today. He remains eager to act. He agreed with my new game plan to wait for another large event to happen and then call him to check on my dishwasher so he can intervene. So for now, the ways in which the puzzle pieces of this ecstatic compassion do an impression of Pink Panther. Doesn't the Pink Panther not have a voice? Like the actual panther itself? SJ with the 5 says, imagine a busload of high school students driving through Intercourse, PA. Oh man, they would have quite a laugh, wouldn't they? So immature. I'd never laugh at something like that. So for now, the ways in which the puzzle pieces of ecstatic dance, compassionate death, patio dirt rituals, and ceiling collapse connect will remain a mystery. Alright, thank you for making me aware that there was, You want to hear a Morty impression? I don't know, Rick. What do you mean, Rick? What are we supposed to do, man? I'm a little fucking stupid, annoying character who just always is so mad. He's always fucking complaining and bitching about everything, and he's just always, I don't know, just like overwhelmed. Nah, I don't even know. I guess more of a
Morty, shut the fuck up, Morty. Everything you're saying is so fucking annoying and dumb. God, just get in the vehicle. We're gonna go through time, and we're gonna do some fucking adventures. It doesn't matter.
All right. I don't even know how to do Morty now. You would be like a mime. Yeah. But isn't there like a Pink Panther guy played by like Steve Martin or whatever? Where he's like hamburger. Oh, it's just sound effects. Dude, I miss those old cartoons. Like there was like those days, you know what I mean? Like I remember, you know, growing up as like a kid in the 90s and shit, like Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, like they had their newer cartoons on at like their hot block, you know, time frames, you know what I mean? Like 5 to 8 p.m. or whatever the fuck. But then as the time would go on, or like they needed filler shows for the other days or for the other time slots, you know, you would get shit like Pink Panther and all the stuff that you see on like Boomerang and stuff. And I don't know, you would get some like really random like deep cut cartoons that just, you couldn't even talk to people at like fucking daycare or school about, because they just were like, what the fuck? There's a fucking Pink Panther who just wanders around and just makes random noise. Yeah, dude, I think he's high, man. I think he's smoking jankum. Hamburger. Yeah, that's the only thing I saw in the commercial. I was always under the interpretation that Steve Martin was dead. Far from it, apparently. You just turned 31 a few days ago? Nice, dude. Happy late birthday. What's up, Scarce? What's going on? Bro, Wayback Machine. Do they have cartoons on that shit? I've been meaning to post this here for a while, and I wrote my first draft back in April, so it's taken a long time and a lot of therapy for me to be able to think about this experience. I've noticed how many people's stories take place over weeks, months, even years, so I'm here to tell you that mine was 12 hours in my life. I managed to block out a lot of... What is it? Can you do a drunk Peter Griffin? I'll be happy.
Lois. Oh, fuck, Lois. I'm just... Oh, Peter. Where's your condom, Peter? I'm just gonna use this, old Snickers wrapper. Fuck.
I don't know what this throw-up sounds like. Hard chilling with Sour Mike and Ike's. Oh shit, that sounds pretty good. Damn, I haven't had like just some sick-ass candy in a while. You just saw Jeff Goldblum do a Raid Shadow Legends ad? Fuck yeah, dude. He's taking over. I just will never forget that picture of Jeff Goldblum where he's like holding the one girl in one arm and like has his entire like spindly like Slender Man hand wrapped around another girl's like throat. It's just so fucking funny to me. I just never... life finds a way. I managed to block out a lot of the memories surrounding this night, but early this year I was mugged and my PTSD returned, as did a lot of the missing memories of those 12 hours. This is the first time I'm telling anyone the full story of what happened to me. I haven't told my partner, my therapist, my parents. No one knows the details. If there's anything that should be taken away from my story, it's this. Remember that you don't need to be polite to everyone you meet. In October 2018, I was 18. Oops. Can you do Yosemite Sam?
Roar!
Fuck, no. I can't even. I can kind of hear him. Let me listen to this guy. I can hear him in my head, but I can't translate it. Yosemite Sam. Here he comes, just shooting people.
Yosemite Sam.
Yeah, Yosemite Sam.
No, that's terrible. That's his cousin, Yosemite John. Yosemite Joel.
The hardest burner ever crossed the Rio Grande.
It's kind of funny, I think the Yosemite Sam voice. I can't do it, dude.
No, you skunks, clear out of here.
Yeah, it just doesn't have the same tone. But it's funny because I think Seth MacFarlane, there's a character on Family Guy who I think sounds very similar to Yosemite Sam, but I can't quite think. Snagglepuss. Snagglepuss. Jeez. Let me listen to something Snagglepuss says. Snagglepuss was one of those cartoons I never actually got to see too often, but it was funny. With a Cambodian. Oh. Name it, name it. Heavens to Murgatroyd. His shooting has improved. Immensatively. Holy shit, dude. Snagglepuss is my favorite cartoon ever, dude. What a fucking funny, underrated motherfucker. It's just so fucking stupid. What? This is from 1910. It's just the funniest voice you could ever have for a character. Then is the go. Unlock the door. Make me free. Jacob with the 5 says, Joe, I'm staying up to watch this. How's your Jar Jar Binks impression?
Well, it's pretty good, I guess. I'm
Snagglepuss. Taking edibles and watching the stream. Hell yeah. You're just here for the Snagglepuss impression. Mixed with Jar Jar Binks. Yosemite Joel. Alright. I'm kind of worried because this one's, it's a highly upvoted one, but it's got sexual assault mentioned in it. So I'm kind of wondering to what extent I'm actually able to describe the language in the story without it not being good to include in a story, you know what I mean? I guess we'll see. Ah, Real Monsters, yes, that was a good show. Snagglepuss sounds like a Karma Sutra position. It is, it is. Oh, yeah, it sounds like James from Team Rocket, yeah. Jesse! Wait, James. Yeah, I guess James. Oh, Meowth, would you just relax a little bit?
Shut up, Jesse, you stupid fuck.
I don't know. I don't know if I can do Meowth.
Meowth, that's right.
Oh, Meowth. Attack! Coughing. Get him, Coughing. Whatever the fuck Coughing says. Sound like the devil from Powderpuff Girls. Oh yeah. Hello everyone, it's me, the devil. Oh wait, wasn't the devil? Oh wait, he was. He didn't have. They didn't call him the devil or something like that. I remember there was the devil from. What was it? Chicken and Cat. Chicken and the Cow. What was the show called? Was it literally just called Chicken and the Cow? It was like a side show of Dexter's Lab, maybe? Or not Dexter, I forget what it was. Cat's Alley Art Studio with the 7 months. Welcome back, says Joel, my guy. Hello, hello. Team Rocket blasting off again. Oh. I wish I could do Jesse's so I could do the full thing. I'm just much better at the James. Oh, meow. No, I can't do it. It'd be fun if you could do... Yeah, cow and chicken. What did I say? Chicken and the cow? What the fuck's wrong with me? Jesus Christ. But yeah, there was the devil in Cow and Chicken. Oh yeah, him. Yeah, I want to listen to him real quick. Him. Because he was real evil to start, and then he became like less evil as the show went on Powerpuff Girls. Powerpuff Girls. Yes.
I love it when you girls fight.
Wait. It's so weird. It's such a weird like concept. Like he's got like long boots. He's got the devil's like face, red devil's face. It's kind of like effeminate a little bit, but then he's got fucking just robot lobster claws on his hands. It just doesn't make any sense. Oh, Mr. Quack. I don't remember his voice like echoing. Did it always echo? Was he just like, was it always creepy? I thought there was like some level of, I don't know, some level of comedy to it.
Am I the only one who hates it?
Do Zoidberg.
Zoidberg, ah. You wouldn't believe it.
I don't even know. I'm just not in the mindset right now. Have you met Mr. Nightmare? Nope. Never even talked to him before. He is a mysterious man. Literally just red guy. Yeah, red guy. But I remember there was like, I think there was a pilot episode for Cow and Chicken where red guy was in it and he has like his naked butt, and I remember him showing him, he's like, hello, it's me, the devil. It is. It's just like naked ass. Oh my god. Did I need to go back and watch Cow and Chicken? This shit was funny as fuck. Hello, it's me, the warden. Alright, any fucking ways. In October 2018, I was age 18 in my first year at university in a big city in the UK. I had always lived in the countryside before this, so was never very street smart. About a year before I went to university, I had started a relationship with this guy, Jimmy, now my ex. It was my first real relationship, and I thought the world of him, but it was not reciprocated in a loving and compassionate way. Jimmy started off as very emotionally abusive and got progressively worse, but that's a whole other story. At this point, Jimmy and I had been together just under a year and had applied to universities in the same city, mostly by coincidence, and both moved to the same city. I wanted to have a proper student life, so got accommodations in a student block on the other side of the city to him. Jimmy had been using drugs for quite a while, initially starting off just smoking weed, but this progressed rapidly, and by the time we were at uni, he was regularly doing a lot of hard drugs, plus smoking weed multiple times a day. Honestly, I don't think he was ever not high. When we moved to university, we still saw each other every couple of days, and he found a regular drug dealer, Mark, that had been using continually since we got there in September. Jimmy used to buy from Mark multiple times a week, so on a handful of occasions I had briefly met him. Mark lived a lot closer to my student accommodation than to Jimmy's, so a couple of weeks before this all happened, Jimmy had started picking up drugs from Mark when he came to see me, meaning Mark would often be outside of my accommodation. Jimmy had asked me a few times if I would pick up the drugs that he bought from Mark, but I always felt weird speaking to Mark on my own. Plus, I rarely smoked weed, so I felt very weird picking up drugs in general. 6 p.m. One day, at the end of October, Jimmy had plans to come and see me that evening and asked me again if I would pick up some weed for Mark. I was in a good mood that day and feeling more confident than usual, so for the first time I agreed to it. Jimmy gave me Mark's number and said that Mark would message me when he was on his way. Only around 10 minutes later, I got a message from Mark saying that he was nearly outside my apartment and I needed to go outside, so I did. Outside of my accommodation, there was a quieter area with a lot of benches, so I sat and waited for him. Behind me was only a wall and a small contained area that had all of the bins for the building. Out of nowhere, I felt someone's hands on my shoulders in a really weird, creepy way. I jumped, obviously, and realized that it was Mark, who I barely recognized as I had only briefly seen him a couple of times. I realized now that my back had been to the wall and the bin storage, so he must have been waiting there. I was immediately on guard because of how he touched my shoulders, especially because I didn't know him, so I shifted away from him as he sat down next to me. He began talking to me as if we were buddies, asking me 1,000,001 questions about myself, like deeply personal questions. The whole time I was deflecting, not wanting to give out any information, so he started to ask, "Okay, I roll up." You like this animation? Pretty freaking cool, huh? You like the Kraken? The whole time I was deflecting, not wanting to give out any information, so I started asking him questions instead. He began a really deep monologue about himself and his life, where he openly told me that he had just gotten out of prison a few months before. It was for armed something, some kind of violent crime. I engaged his ramblings, just nodding along, but still trying to get back to the whole point of just picking up drugs for my boyfriend. 7 p.m. I've always been able to talk to anyone and was always taught to be nice when someone is talking, so I ended up sitting there for around an hour trying to get the conversation back to the reason I was there, pick up drugs for my boyfriend and go. It was so long that it actually started getting dark. This guy just kept talking. I knew my boyfriend was going to be coming over soon, so I kept looking at my phone to see if he was on his way, but he hadn't replied. Eventually, I told Mark that I needed to get back inside as I was meeting up with my boyfriend soon, and then going clubbing after with some friends, so I needed to get ready, and I could just please pick up those drugs. He then said, "Oh, well, I can't give them to you here. There's CCTV everywhere. We can go inside, and I'll give them to you, okay?" I had witnessed him giving my boyfriend drugs in that same spot countless times before, so I knew this was nonsense. I didn't want Mark to come back to my apartment, so I told him that he could go into the lobby of my building where there was a disabled bathroom, and he could give them to me there. He agreed and followed me inside. He went into the bathroom. It was a very large room, so I didn't have to be too close to him, and he locked the door behind us. He then began fiddling with something in his pocket, I assumed the drugs, but instead pulled down his trousers, fully, and started peeing in the toilet. I was hugely freaked out. This guy just presented his entire self to me and began peeing, but I rationalized that there was no way that he had any sort of motive because he had just met me and my boyfriend together, so he knew that I was in a relationship. I figured that he just really needed to pee. I had kept my eyes shut the whole time, and when he flushed, I thought that he would finally give me the drugs that I was there to collect, and this whole thing had been going on for about an hour and a half by this point. He said, "I really want to roll myself a joint, but there's no space in here to do it. Can I come and roll it on your desk, and then I'll give you Jimmy's stuff?" I asked again if he could just give it to me now, and he said no, saying that I was being rude for not inviting him in. By this point, I was wanting to get ready to go out with friends later that evening and knew my boyfriend would be coming by any minute, so figured that it'd be okay, even though I didn't want this. It's worth noting that I was emotionally abused by my boyfriend. Oops. It's worth noting that I was emotionally abused by my It's worth noting that I was emotionally abused by my boyfriend and knew that he would be mad at me if I didn't collect his drugs or if I annoyed Mark because he was his favorite dealer. I honestly figured that Mark was harmless, despite him telling me that he was a violent criminal, FML, and just assured myself that he was only a bit creepy and it would be fine. 8 p.m. Reluctantly, I took Mark up to my apartment, opened the door and let him in. I said that he had to roll his joint fast because I had to get ready. Finally, he gave me the drugs that my boyfriend wanted, so I felt better at that point. He walked over to my desk, moved all my things to the side and sat down, getting out the things to roll his joint. I cannot roll a joint, but I've seen Jimmy do it countless times, so I know that it doesn't take more than a minute or so. Mark keeps trying to talk to me, but at this point my answers are getting shorter and shorter. He rolls this joint so slowly I can't even describe it. He then said, "Well, I can't smoke this outside, so is it cool if I just stay here and smoke it? It'll only take a few minutes to smoke." I said no and told him again that I had to get ready, and he replied, "It's okay. You can get ready with me here." By this point, I was over it. Messaged my boyfriend again to tell him to hurry up. Mark asked me again, in my frustration and wanting this guy out of my apartment, I just said, "Okay, sure, but be quick." I then went out of my room into the shared kitchen. I only had 2 flatmates and no one else was in the apartment that night. I grabbed some wine and a glass so that I could have some solitary pre-drinks and return to my room. I sat for another 15 minutes, being increasingly less polite, but he kept talking to me. I drank my first glass of wine pretty fast, and just decided if Mark was going to take ages, then I was just ready to go out with my... For my B-Day, I want the most metal thing ever. Nothing! You love Danny DeVito? You love Matilda? Let's go. I drank my first glass of wine pretty fast, and I just decided if Mark was going to take ages, then I would just get ready to go out with my friends. I told him that as soon as he's finished smoking that he could just leave on his own, so I left him sat at the desk, took some clothes into the bathroom, and jumped into the shower. 9 p.m. Maybe a minute or so into the shower, I heard some soft footsteps outside the door, and like a scene from a freaking horror movie, I saw the door handle slowly being pushed down. Thank God I remembered to lock the door. All of a sudden, Mark began banging on the door. I turned the shower off and just said, hi?" through the door. And he shouted through the door asking to let him in because he needed to pee again. I obviously said no and just got dried and dressed. Thankfully, I took clothes to the bathroom and as fast as I could. By this point, I figured that there was no way that he was going to leave my apartment till I did, so I did my makeup as fast as I physically could and messaged my friend that I'd be coming to theirs sooner than I had planned. I still hadn't got a reply from my boyfriend, so I just told him that I was going out early and not to come over. I got ready to go and told Mark that I was leaving now and he needed to come downstairs with me. He was still sat at my desk and ignored what I was saying. He asked if he could stay in my room while I was out because he was tired and wanted to take a nap. Finally, I was firm with him, and after a lot of convincing, he left with me. I made sure to order an Uber to my friend's place so that he couldn't try and walk with me, and by the time we got outside, my Nuber, Jacob with a 10 says, "I'm enjoying myself tonight. You're the greatest narrator alive today. I know you're only human, but you are my friend and brother, and you and me have a lot of laughs together. I'm thankful for you." Oh, thank you, Jacob. Appreciate you. Danny DeVito directed and produced Matilda. These types of stories get tiresome. Yeah, there's a lot of build up here, but it's just, I guess, I don't know. It kind of sucks because there's so much build up, but I feel like it's going to get to the point of being really dark, and then I'm almost going to have to like decide whether or not to include it. And it's just like, oh, fuck. I made sure to order an Uber to my friend's place so that he couldn't try and walk with me, and by the time we got outside, my Uber was nearly there. He stood with me, looking over my shoulder at my phone the whole time. Then the Uber arrived. I got into it, and Mark straight up walked around the other side and got in. I was in disbelief and laughed, then told the Uber driver that I didn't know who this guy was and that he wasn't getting in with me. The Uber was not as polite as me and told Mark to get out, and he did. 10 p.m. I sat there on the way to my friend's house and finally felt calm that I had gotten away from Mark. I called my friend from the Uber and told her what happened, so she said that she would come outside of her building to get me with a group of her flatmates. My friend's accommodation was not far from mine and took longer to get to by car than on foot because of the one-way system in the city, but I didn't care at this point. Maybe 10 to 15 minutes later I arrived, and my friend came over to my Uber, then brought me back to her group of friends. She had quite a few people with her, and I suddenly noticed that one of her male flatmates was talking to someone slightly away from the group. I looked over, and suddenly realized that he was talking to Mark. I guess he was looking at the address when I had the Uber app opened earlier. I whispered to my friend, and she freaked out, and went inside with me straight away. I was super freaked out that this guy wouldn't just leave me alone. He refused to leave my side for the last few hours, and now he had followed me to my friend's house. Honestly, I felt much safer now and met a few creeps in my time, so I just decided to get over it by the... Honestly, I felt much safer now and met a few creeps in my time, so just decided to get over it by having a nice time with my... Honestly, I felt much safer now and met a few creeps in my time, so just decided to get over it by having a nice time with my friend. So we sat in her kitchen having a chat and some drinks. 11 p.m. After a while talking to her, I almost forgot about what happened just an hour ago and was getting increasingly tipsy from the wine. The kitchen door opened and her male flatmate comes inside announcing that he invited a guy in who had given him free weed. And you guessed it, Mark walked in. Mark addressed me by name and walked over, putting his hands around my waist from behind. I get pretty confident when I drink, so I had no problem pushing him off of me, announcing to everyone in a jokey way, "Yeah, this is the guy who's been following me around all evening. Don't even know him." Even in this room with all of my friends' flatmates, I still didn't feel safe, and he stayed away from me, looking at me for a while from the other side of the kitchen, and then I just ignored him. My friend could tell that I was uncomfortable, so they suggested that we go and drink in her room. Around 30 minutes after going into her room, the door slams open suddenly, and Mark is standing there. He says, "Oh, I was looking for the bathroom. Can I use yours?" My friend has an ensuite. Is it ensuite? Ensuite? Frickin' ensuite, dude. Officer Dangle. New boot cruising. Ensuite. My friend had an ensuite. She tells him to get the F out, and he does. I'm honestly just bored of this guy's constant presence at this point, so we decided to just go to the club early. Midnight. We grab our stuff, run past the kitchen door and outside. My friend orders us an Uber and we get in and go to the club. After a while, some of her flatmates join us, but Mark does not, thank God. The people who had been in the kitchen said that Mark left shortly after he saw me and my friend leave, but there was no sign of him now. I just try and enjoy the night, but being a poor student, I can't afford any more drinks at the club. As I begin to sober up, I realize how shaken up and creeped out the whole evening had made me, and I don't feel safe. 2 a.m. After only a couple of hours, I decided I just wanted to go home and sleep because this whole experience freaked me out. I take an Uber back, use my key card to get in my apartment building, go upstairs and into my apartment. I started getting ready for bed, put on some PJs and started taking off my makeup. All of a sudden, I hear a loud knock on my door. I had no clue who it was, but since it was still early-ish for a Friday night, I thought that my boyfriend maybe finally decided to show up. My door didn't have a peephole, so I walked to the door in my PJs, unlocked it, planning to open it a tiny bit to see who it was, and then bam. The door flew open so fast that I was pushed backwards into my apartment and then shoved into my room, which was directly across from the front door. In my panic, I froze, then looked up only to realize that Mark was now standing in my apartment. The realization started to sink in. Mark had just forced his way into my room, and I was trapped here with him. He was visibly angry and very high. He locked the door behind him and began rambling about how I was so rude for not inviting him in with my friends, for ignoring him, for not letting him in the Uber, etc. I was terrified, so I ran over to my bed and grabbed my phone. He walked over behind me and began grabbing me, touching me as much as he could, so I shouted to him to get off. He saw my phone in my hand and immediately smiled and told me to open the camera. I was terrified, so I did it as he... God. This is why you own a taser? Yeah, for real though, dude. I don't know, people who are like apprehensive to get like pepper spray, taser, even a gun, like, I'll never understand it, because it's like, just be ready. You got to be ready for, not saying that, not putting anything on this person or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, in general, like, if you listen to these stories, I would imagine that by this point you have probably purchased one of those items to defend yourself, because this shit is just fucked sometimes. Yeah, toe knife. Yeah, something that's in your, like, your cowboy boots. I was terrified, so I did as he said, and he said he wanted a picture of us together. I did as I was told. God, my voice is kind of going already, and we're on story fucking 4. I did as I was told, and took a selfie with him when he posed with his arms around me and then kissing my cheek and my neck. He then screamed at me to unlock my phone, so I did. He made me open up my messages and send Jimmy the selfie of me and Mark sat next to each other on my bed, so I did. He waited for it to send and then grabbed my phone and put it down on the desk. He sat at my desk for the next 4 to 5 hours talking at me continually, saying how I was so rude, I needed someone to teach me some manners, how I had to do what he said because he was older than me, how Jimmy wasn't good enough for me, how I was so beautiful, and how he knew that I needed to be with him. He told me that his girlfriend knew that he had been at my house that evening, and now she said that he can't go home, and it was all my fault. The whole time I continued bargaining with him, trying to get him to leave, but it didn't work. Occasionally I would just lie down on my bed or sit and not speak. Each time I did, he would get up and wrap his arms around me and try and spoon me, stroking my face, trying to kiss me, and trying to take my clothes off and touch me. Every time I fought him off, he would get angry again and go and sit at the desk and keep shouting. I knew that this guy had previously been in prison for some kind of violent crime, and so I didn't want to make him angry. I just sat there for hours and quietly sobbed, too scared of trying to leave because I would have had to have walked past him to get to the door, and I was out of options. I didn't know if I could get out without angering him, and I couldn't call the police because he had my phone. My flatmates weren't in so many... Would you like a nice egg in these trying times? I was out of options. I didn't know if I could get out without angering him. I couldn't call the police because he had my phone, and my flatmates weren't in, so my screams meant nothing. 6 a.m. While he was sat at my desk, he kept stroking, fuck. While he was sat at my desk, he kept smoking more weed or taking a line of whatever drug, so he's becoming more and more out of it. It was becoming more sleepy as he smoked more weed until I was able to speak between his ramblings, so I gently said that I was going to the bathroom. I noticed that he had his eyes partially closed and figured that I only had one chance, so I took the opportunity and grabbed my phone off the desk. I noticed that he had his eyes partially closed and figured that I only had one chance, so I took the opportunity and grabbed my phone off the desk as fast as I could, unlocked the door, and ran out of the apartment. The only thing I will always remember is being in tears, pressing the button for the elevator to come probably about 50 times because I was so scared that he was going to come after me. As I got into the elevator, I heard him come out of my apartment, shouting my name, but the elevator doors closed as he looked at me. I was able to get downstairs and out of the building. I ran around the corner of the building in my pajamas and manically dialed the number for the police and told them what happened and that this guy had been in prison until recently, and the next thing I knew, around 5 police cars showed up. I was in such a state and called my boyfriend. To tell him what happened. He was still awake and hadn't come to visit the night before because he was with a girl who is his friend, and said that now that he didn't want to come to be with me because he had some weed on him and didn't want to be near the police. I told him to get to my place now, and he reluctantly did. The aftermath. The police had to force entry to my apartment because Mark had locked himself in and barricaded the door. They arrested him, and he ended up going to prison for drug charges, but not for what he did or tried to do to me. The police said they couldn't prosecute him because he had... So anyways, I started blasting. They should have blasted this motherfucker. Fucking weird, man. You're so brave to do these live streams, man. Love your stuff. Good night. I'm brave? Why am I brave? Everybody in here is gonna fucking kill me and eat my guts. You guys wish you could eat my fucking guts. My guts are fucking delicious, and none of you, not a single one of you, are gonna get to taste them as some sort of ravenous horde. Unless, I don't know if you can hear it, but my 2 fingers are poking together. Unless, ooh, Oni-chan want to eat my guts. You just want to slice. The police said they couldn't prosecute him because I had willingly let him into my apartment earlier in the night, and he hadn't physically done anything. After I had given my statements to the police, I went back inside to see that after I had escaped my room... What? Are you challenging me? I will eat your guts. After I had given my statements to the police, I went back inside to see that after I had escaped, my room was trashed. Mark had thrown things around and mashed things in anger. I'm so glad that I got out when I did, because I can't imagine what would have happened if I was trapped in the crossfire. I don't know what happened to Mark after that, but I moved out of that apartment a couple of months later and away from that city as soon as I could when COVID hit, to make sure. How's my wife? I don't have a wifey. I wish I had a wife. Well, maybe I don't, honestly. I don't know. I wish I had a racquetball partner. Are you serious, right, meow? I don't know what happened to Mark after that, but I moved out of that apartment a couple of months later and away from that city as soon as I could when COVID hit, to make sure Mark could never find me. I actually stayed in my abusive relationship for another year or so until I realized that I was too good to put up with Jimmy's nonsense. I had such severe PTSD from the incident that I couldn't go outside for months after, which messed up the whole of my first year at university. It has taken until now for me to be able to walk around at night, and being alone in public is still really difficult. I'm well aware that the ending is very anticlimactic, and I wish that I'd been able to advocate for myself, but I just shut down emotionally afterwards. I can't get too much into the details of the assault and all that kind of stuff because honestly, thinking about it makes me want to throw up. But I realized that I was so lucky to be able to fight him off every time because, without a doubt, he wanted to hurt me. After this all happened, I started volunteering with people in prison for these types of crimes to try and prevent them from ever re-offending. I think it's my way of advocating for others because I couldn't advocate for myself. If you take one thing away from me, stop being so polite. I was raised to be nice to everyone, and I realize now that being polite worsened everything. I wish I had never been polite enough to pick up drugs for my ex, or polite enough to let Mark in my apartment when he begged. So to Mark, I hope you rot in prison. You're too good for ping pong? Wifey got changed to racquetball partner. Yeah, I don't know. I sometimes think, like, if I would have gotten married by this point in my life, like, you know, I'm 32. I do know people that have been married. Some people were married fucking 5-7 years or something like that, and now they're, like, divorced and, you know, unhappy and blee blee blah blue blue blue. And that's not always the case. There's a lot of people, I guess, I don't know. I just feel like marriage to me, even though I understand the romantic nature of it, I mean, we talked about this a trillion times before. I don't know. I think you can still enjoy another person to the fullest extent as them being like your person and you being faithful to each other without the need for, you know, tax benefits or whatever it is that comes along with marriage, or the splitting of 50% of your shit. Dip, duck, dive, dodge. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. It's sterile and I like the taste. Blee blee blah blah blue blue. I don't know. I just like see so often where, like, you know, people loved each other. You know, they loved each other. And then all of a sudden they woke up one day and they're like, fuck this motherfucker. You know what I mean? Fuck this guy. Fuck him. I'm gonna go, first off, I'm gonna go cheat, right? I'm gonna go cheat on this person, make them feel terrible, and then I'm gonna divorce them, and then I'm gonna take 50% of their assets and make them liquidate all of it so they have to go live in a fucking apartment. And then I'm gonna convince the kid that we had together in our loving marriage that he's a piece of shit. You know what I mean? And I don't know. That's what I'm terrified of. I'm terrified of that shit. I'm terrified. I'm not saying that it would end up that way. I'm just like, in my head, I'm like, in a liability sense, I'm like, why not? Why don't we just hold hands and call it a day? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Well, no, yeah, if their kids are involved. But I mean, I imagine if I got married to somebody, I probably would get them pregnant at some point, you know what I mean? Crystal, I think that's awesome, and I'm happy for you. I really am. I'm happy for every single person who has a fantastic marriage and a great life. I just, I haven't arrived to that point in my existence yet. But just my external observations, the worst case scenarios tend to be ones that could happen. So it's kind of like just like the risk to benefit scenario. Because in my head, I'm like, okay, what's the benefit of getting married? Like, you symbolically feel connected to that person? Sure, you should. But if your minds are strong enough and your affection for each other is strong enough, you can still be, you know, in proximity to one another forever in the same house, you know, until you're dead. That's fine. Also, when you die, maybe you wouldn't inherit like their nursing home bills or something like that. I don't know, but you know what I mean. Like it just seems like, I think marriage served a different purpose in the past, legally. You know what I mean? Like maybe it made some sense. Like if I would say I married Queen Elizabeth, that would be sick, because then I would own, you know, all of the oil in Nigeria or something like that, or you know, all of the geese in the UK, and if you touch those geese and hurt them, you would go to fucking jail. I would put you in jail for that. I technically could be the King of England right now if I married Queen Elizabeth, which I should have did. When she DM'd me on Instagram, I should have just went through with it, honestly. But whenever she sent me a picture of her hand, I literally thought it was the crypt keeper, and I got scared. I get scared, and I closed everything out. And I curled up in my bed, and I cried for a bit. It was terrifying. And she sent me a little voice memo that said, hee, but it sounded like way more demonic, like way scarier. And she was just laughing at a joke I said, you know, but it sounded like Gollum. In my late teens and early 20s, I was friends with a girl named Lucy. She was a very lonely girl. Fuck. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. She was a very lonely kind of girl whose parents were, well, honestly, really bad. Her mother was verbally abusive, and her father really couldn't care less about anything. Because of the lack of love in her life, Lucy searched through dating sites for love and comfort from strange men, and she was not afraid of meeting them face to face, even if they'd been chatting for only a few days. My friendship with Lucy was a strange one. I found her quite annoying sometimes, but I also felt awful for her because of her loneliness and lack of friends and love in her life. Sometimes I really didn't want to hang out with her, and some days I would accept her offer to hang out. When it was just her and I together, she was normal and okay to be around, but also very appreciative of having someone giving her attention. We had a small group of friends, and she would try to get all of us together as often as possible, and honestly, the whole group together was really quite fun. When we were all together, Lucy was very hyper, and you could just tell that she was happy to be around people who didn't insult her as much as her mother did. Suddenly, Lucy tells us that she has a boyfriend, and we were all surprised because we knew that she had met a lot of guys online, but we had never heard her say that she was dating someone. A few days later, she sets up a day for our friend group to meet Trevor. None of us were looking forward to it because we thought that he was just going to be like all the others, just some temporary boy toy. When we met him, we all felt kind of awkward. He barely spoke a word. He wouldn't look directly at any of us. Lucy would try to be funny, but he would just give her dirty looks. Needless to say, we thought that he was a weird one and could tell that he didn't care much for her. As the days went on, Lucy kept telling me how much Trevor did not like me. And this was weird because no one ever really did dislike me. I'm always polite, respectful, and I smile a lot at everyone. But for some reason, he did not like me. He kept saying that he thinks I'm using Lucy for her money. Not sure how he thought that since I paid for everything for Lucy. And to keep this piece of the story short, I think he was trying to find reasons to convince her to get rid of me. I got a terrible vibe from Trevor. He dressed like he didn't care about life, and he never smiled. He didn't shake our hands when first meeting us, and he stank of weed and really had an overall uncomfortable feeling about him. After months of Trevor trying to convince Lucy that I am a terrible friend and she should not hang out with me anymore, she started to do as he said. She would start to hide from... She would start to fuck. S.J. Curtis with the 150. And the Pradeep emoji, thank you. Any Missouri peeps in here? Missouri peepers. And Hitsubasa with the 5 says, oh, Joe, I meant to ask you your thoughts on the announcement of the upcoming changes to chilling. I still need to download it. Yeah, I think they're still kind of like definitely in the works, but yeah, there's going to be a lot of good stuff coming down the pipe, especially in pertaining to introduction of like video content and exclusive video content. So I can't say that I know a ton, but you should definitely hit up, Being Scared. He would know a lot more about the specifics if he's able to divulge those, but I'm definitely excited for it. And it's still going to be the same chilling app that you know and love, but just even more so. Thank you for the 5. And Jacob with the 10 says, if anyone dares to eat Joel's guts, they will have to deal with the King of King. Besides Joel, there's no one more powerful in the cult than me. Can you do an Arthur Morgan impression?
Yeah, I suppose I could. Yeah, everyone been trying to eat my guts lately, trying to dig in there and just find the good stuff. But I'll tell you what, most of the jelly beans I had earlier today, they're already digested and turned into shit. So unless you're looking to eat shit out of my stomach, then you best keep moving on, partner.
When is the video stuff coming? I'm not exactly sure, but some point. Chris, what's up, homie? Homie G. Chrisnopolis also, 2 Chris's with the 4 months. Welcome back. Says I would invest in that. Please be involved because Being Scared is awesome, but you're the better. No, no, yeah, I'm definitely involved for sure. I sound more like Beetlejuice.
Know what I mean? Yeah.
Wait, what is Beetlejuice? Everyone says it sounds like Beetlejuice, which is funny. I guess it's kind of a good thing.
Yep, I guess. Or no.
Let me listen to Beetlejuice's voice.
It's showtime.
Beetlejuice voice.
Here, hold that for me.
Yeah.
Who do I have to kill?
She's kind of mouse in her hand. That was a good movie, honestly. I love that like Alec Baldwin's brother is in it. It's just such a funny guy. Funny looking fella. Lynn, welcome back for 3 months. Says opening Pokemon packs on an online simulator while listening to you. Opening Neo Dynasty. This saves me so much money. Oh, anyways. Really? So you can just like simulate the process of opening it, or is it like are they physical packs that are being opened in front of you, almost like you're separated from it, or is it just like sort of physical images and that kind of thing? Because that sounds kind of fun, to be honest. I wouldn't mind going through all those old ass cards and just what's the website? What's the site, bro, for the Pokies? Oh, fuck me, I'm tired.
Sandworms? You hate them, right? I hate them too. Yeah.
She would start to hide from him. Wait. Oh, yeah. She would start to hide me from him. If she and I were together and he would call her on her phone, she would lie and say that I wasn't there. If she was with a group of friends, he would have her swear that I wasn't there. When he was going to be joining the group on an outing or just hanging out at her place, she would tell me that I couldn't come. Lucy will do whatever a boyfriend says just to keep pleasing him so she doesn't lose them. And now, here's where it gets scary. Lucy calls me one day and says that she wants me to come hang out at her place. I agreed. She came to pick me up, and we went to her house and watched TV for a bit. We then decided that since it's a nice day outside, that we could take her 2 dogs for a walk to a nearby pocket park and would later return to the house to have lunch together. While at this park, she receives a phone call. Now let me say that Lucy is not a private person whatsoever and has never ever walked away to answer a phone call until this day. She walked far enough away that she knew that I would not be able to hear anything she said. This was suspicious to me, but not enough to question it. The call ends and she begins walking towards me with a look on her face as if she was trying not to smile. She tells me, "So, I need to bring you home now." I was slightly confused as we had only been together for about an hour when we usually spend the entire day together, and she would never want me to go home, and she would even frequently beg me to sleep over to avoid being alone. So anyways, I said okay, and we walked to drop off her dogs at home, and we got into her car and off we went. About 10 minutes into the car ride, I realized that she isn't going in the direction of my house, so I questioned it. "Where are we going?" She smirked, but didn't respond. I asked again, laughing uncomfortably. "Seriously, where are we going?" She continued to smirk, but didn't want to answer. I started to realize that she was heading in the direction of where her boyfriend lived. "Oh God, no." I asked one last. Shell, no worries. This is Alec Baldwin in Beetlejuice. No, it's not. It's his brother, right? No. I think it's his brother. Yeah, let me look. Now you got me curious. Beetlejuice cast. Full crew. Oh my God, it is Alec Baldwin. You're right. What the fuck? That's what Alec Baldwin looked like? Damn, he looked pretty damn good. What the fuck happened to him? It's like he shot somebody or something. Alec... Wait, no. Let me look at Beetlejuice. I can't believe that. That was Alec Baldwin? As a youthful lad? Damn, dude, he was handsome. I literally thought it was like his younger brother. That's crazy. I mean, he still, I guess, technically looks fine now, but yeah. I started to realize that she was heading in the direction of where her boyfriend lived. Oh God, no. And I asked one last time, with anger in my voice, "Where are you taking me?" Her only response was bone-chilling to me. "Trevor wants to talk to you." No. I wasn't having any of this. I insisted and demanded that she let me out of the car. But with her evil smirk and same response, she said it again. "It's okay. He just wants to talk to you." I was furious at this point because this creepy guy who looks like he wants to kill someone, who also despised me, wanted to talk to me. Why can't he talk to me on the phone? Why do I need to go to his sketchy apartment? She absolutely refused to let me out of the car. She had the doors locked, as if I wasn't able to unlock my passenger door. I waited until she reached a red light. I grabbed her wallet from the back seat and took out her bus pass and bolted out of the car. I had no idea where I was or where the nearest bus stop was, but I was not about to let her crazy boyfriend... Fuck. I had no idea where I was or where the nearest bus stop was, but I was not about to let her crazy boyfriend do whatever he wanted to me. Fuck, that sounded terrible. I had no idea where I was or where the nearest bus stop was, but I was not about to let her crazy boyfriend do whatever he wanted to me. She yelled for me to get back into the car, but of course I ignored her, and she sped off furiously. I immediately blocked her number on my phone and removed her as a friend on social media, and immediately warned the group of friends not to talk to her because she's gone nuts. I've not spoken to her since that very day, and she also lost the other 5 friends in the group as well. After this situation, Lucy, I hope you're truly lonely now. Jacked her for the bus pass. You watched Beetlejuice on HBO Max and didn't even know that? Yeah, for some reason I don't know. He doesn't look like Alec bald. Like, let me see. I don't know. Something about him just like looks like, you know, whenever those stars like Chevy Chase, or not Chevy Chase. What's his name from 2.5 Men? 2.5 Men. Charlie Sheen. It looks like Charlie Sheen's brother, where it like loosely looks like Charlie Sheen, but not quite. Yeah, I don't fucking know. Know what I mean? Alright, I put the lotion on my skin. Say it, don't spray it. Yeah. My boyfriend wants to talk to you about your extended warranty. Has anyone in the history of ever actually used an extended warranty? I don't know. I feel like you might want to for a car, you know what I mean? On the off chance it explodes or something. I don't quite know how you redeem it. It just seems like a money scam. I kind of want to look up young Alec Baldwin. Naked, or not naked, sorry. Oh wow, what a man. Jeez Louise. Looks like James Bond almost, but like almost like a Sean Connery style human. Interesting. Yeah, oh, dude, you know what he kind of looks like when he was real young like that? Is the motherfucker from Blade Runner 2. Remember the newest Blade Runner? The guy that's like the movie Driver, right? Yeah, Driver, right? Or Blade Runner 2049. Yeah. What the fuck? I can't remember anybody's fucking name today. Jesus Christ. Cast. Ryan Gosling. Yeah, what the fuck is wrong with me? He looks kind of like Ryan Gosling a little bit when he was younger. Wow, Ryan Gosling's 41 now? Jesus Christ, everybody just seems to be born and then they age up in numbers. Kirk Douglas? Which one's Kirk Douglas? Kirk Douglas. Oh, this guy was like way back in the day. Oh yeah, interesting. I remember like I think it was Marlon Brando. Marlon Brando young. Like it's crazy to see him in what the fuck is it? I have a bad memory tonight. It's crazy to see him in Apocalypse Now, you know, because he's kind of bigger in that. And then he's also in that The Island of Dr. Monroe. And then you go back in time and you're like, holy shit, man. What a friggin' hunk. What a hunk of spunk. Anyways. I am Spartacus. I had no idea where I was or where the nearest bus stop. Oh yeah, we're done with that one. Alright. Next story. For some context, I'm a 32-year-old female. This happened to me when I was about 25 or 26. I work full-time as a researcher at a university, which is where these encounters took place. I'm not a professor or anything, and because of my age at the time, I could have easily been mistaken for just another student wandering around campus. On some days, when the weather was nice, I would prefer to spend my lunch hour strolling around the university grounds outside, or sitting underneath a shady tree on a bench, enjoying the time that I was not sitting in a cramped corner of a lab. On one of these days, I was sitting on a bench enjoying the fresh air, and a male student walking by asked if he could sit next to me. I'm a pretty shy and awkward kind of person, so even though I really would have preferred sitting alone, I said, sure. He initiated simple conversation, to which I obliged, but being careful to not be too forthcoming. He mentioned that he had seen which apartment building I came and went from, which slightly alarmed me, given that I had never seen this person before in my life. But I pushed the thought from my mind. After all, the weather had been decent lately, and I had spent nearly all my lunch hours for the past week outside. He asked if I was studying within the mentioned department, to which I told him that I was not a student, but rather I worked there. He told me that he was an engineering student, and then followed up with asking me out to coffee sometime. I apologized and told him that I had a boyfriend and would have to decline. We parted ways after that, and I assumed that I probably wouldn't see him around again. About a week or two went by, and I was spending another lunch hour outside on campus, sitting on a different bench somewhere. Seemingly out of nowhere, the same man from before asked if he could sit next to me again. Admittedly, I don't remember what he started talking to me about at first. My mind was reeling, and I was rather uncomfortable having to potentially turn this guy down a second time. Sure enough, he asked me again if we could go out for coffee sometime. I apologized and reminded him that I had a boyfriend and would not be meeting him for coffee. Again, he left after that. I was feeling rather anxious now, but it still hadn't reached a level where I felt that I had to be too concerned. A few days later, I had finished work and was leaving the building to walk to where I had parked my car. The universities charge a fortune for parking passes, even if you're employed by them, so I had always opted for free street parking about a 10-minute walk away from campus. My walking route would take me down several quiet residential streets with minimal car traffic. Even pedestrian traffic was pretty sparse on the busiest of days. It wasn't until I was about halfway to my car, down one of these quiet back streets, that I noticed someone walking directly across the street from me, but keeping a few paces behind. I noticed him from my peripheral vision and didn't want to flat out turn around to stare at him. It wasn't uncommon to see someone else by any means. I was just always trying to be aware of my surroundings when walking the streets alone. I had to make a few turns coming up anyways, and the chance that they would be going the same way as me was slim. But he did. He made all the turns I did, still walking on the sidewalk across from me, a few steps behind. I still did not want to look at whoever this was. I didn't want him to know that I was aware of what I thought he was doing. I quickened my pace to a speedy walk. I was approaching the first of two busier streets before I would reach my car. His pace quickened to keep up with me, and this was the moment that I panicked. The moment that I was sure that he was indeed following me. After that, I started a full-out jog across the street of the busier streets. Penis, I made it so far. Lynn with the 2 says, let me know if the link works. We gotta catch them all. Oh yeah, I don't think you can link stuff in the chat, but if you just want to tell me the site, I can look it up. No worries. You're making a Poison Ivy costume? Hell yeah, that's cool. After that, I started a full-out jog across the first of the busier streets. He ran to keep up behind me and was now on the same side of the street I was. I was now nearly at my car. I had to cross the last busy street and get about 100 meters and I would be there. But it was crossing the street that worried me. I often had to stop and wait a good minute or so before it was clear enough to do so. If this were the case, he would catch up with me. As if the stars aligned, as soon as I made it running to the busy street, I had a gap to cross. I booked it as fast as I could, finally turning around once I had made it to look and yell at the man who had been pursuing me. It was him. I could have suspected, but now it was confirmed. It was the engineering student whom I turned down for coffee. "Stop following me!" I yelled at him from across the busy street. "Can I just talk to you?" He yelled back. I didn't even answer him. I mean, the answer should have been obvious from the start, and I was certainly never going to give my time to anyone who had just followed and then chased me for about a kilometer. I keep moving quickly to my car, so determined to get the hell out of there that I didn't even care if he saw which car was mine. He had given up following me and never tried to cross the road, too, to my relief. I got home and broke down. I mean, worse things had happened to other people, no doubt, and I wasn't harmed, fortunately, but I was shook. I had some anxieties walking to and from work after that. It wasn't long before a coworker and I would walk most of the distance back to our cars together after work. I even changed where I started parking for a time. A few weeks had passed since the incident, and I had not seen him around campus at all. I had started spending my lunches in the lab instead of outside, but occasionally I would go to the student center to buy lunch instead. This one particular day, the food court in the student center was packed, almost shoulder to shoulder. I was standing in line at a burger stall, and I heard a guy try and get someone's attention through the crowd. I look up, and it's him again, waving to me and trying to make his way through the people. I panicked, and even though I'm terribly shy, I started a scene and yelled at him to leave me the F alone. His face dropped instantly as people stared at us, and he slinked back into the sea of students. My heart was pounding, and I was shaking. I don't even remember if I ended up getting food after that. I went back to work, and from then on, was even more focused on my surroundings than I ever was before. It's been 5 or 6 years since then now, and I still work at the university. I'm so relieved to say that I never saw him again after the food court and hadn't had any other harrowing accounts on campus. I'm still diligent about being aware of my surroundings, especially when I have to walk to and from campus alone. I never asked the guy his name, so I couldn't even report an incident to campus police or anything. All in all, I'm just glad that I never saw him again, and I can only hope he never did this to any other girl before or after me. Will I sing to you? Happy birthday, tree flesh. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, tree flesh. It's your 21st motherfucking birthday. Take a shot for me. But not 21 shots, because you will die. You guaranteed are dead if you do that. Water and Fire Tarot, what's going on? What's poppin' and droppin'? You want to be a lumpy space princess? God, that show really changed cartoons, I feel like. Like, SpongeBob definitely influenced it for sure, but, like, I feel like that show, well, I don't know. Maybe not. Ren and Stimpy was definitely out there, for sure. But I feel like it was almost, actually, no. Ren and Stimpy was definitely the weirdest one, I feel like, for, like, kids' cartoons. That could be incorrect, though. There could be other ones. Actually, what the fuck am I talking about? Cow and Chicken was weird. There were so many fucking weird shows before Adventure Time. Yeah. What am I smoking? Happy birthday, Mr. President. Jacob only with the juice, Joel. You missed a donut. Oh no, Jacob. I'm sorry. Oh, from. Oh, weird. It didn't show up there. That's strange. Sorry about that, Jacob. It says, with the 5, says, you find Krampus stories to read for Christmas, then it would get you viewers. Joel, I'm going to call it a night. I can barely keep my eyes open. No worries, Jacob. Get some sleepies. And you can check out the video tomorrow when it is up. Thank you, my friend. Oh. Your middle name is Joy. The comments were relentless for Ren and Stimpy. Happy, joy, joy, happy, joy, joy. It was funny. Somebody at the gym today was named Joy. And, they kept saying their name. Somebody kept saying their name, and I kept, like, looking over, like, huh? That sounds like me. Are you talking to me? Nope, we're talking to this old lady here. Oh. Okay, thank you. Sorry. Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. Ooh, so funny. Like, it's just the fucking Grim Reaper had a Jamaican accent. It's just like so. It's just so random, but I loved it. Dr. Barber was scary. I don't think I've heard of Dr. Barber. Flapjack. I never got to watch Flapjack. I feel like it was like way after my time. Even I guess Adventure Time was way after my time, but like I just would still watch it because it was, I like feel like I caught it one time. I was like, this is pretty good. How many stories left? We got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 bad boys at your door. Alright, let me probably have to take a whiz break after this. A wizard. You're a wizard, Harry. You're pissing into the wind. What was the creepiest episode of any kid's show in your opinion? I don't know. I feel like I'd have to have my mind jogged. Like, I'm gonna hear something you guys say, and I'm like, yeah, that was so fucking creepy. But I remember there was a Beetlejuice show, and as like a little 3-year-old, it would come on TV, and I would like hide behind the couch just for the opening, where he's like, it's showtime, you know? But then not be afraid of the actual show itself. For some reason, him just like popping up on the screen, like from the bottom, and like face being right in the, you know, in front of everyone. It just, something about that. Yeah. Hello from India. What's going on? What is happening out there in India? To give a little context, I used to work in an apartment complex. As a result, I've had my fair share of creepy encounters. Most residents keep to themselves and don't cause issues. Most residents keep to themselves and don't cause issues, probably about 95%. But the other 5% took up almost all my time. Isaac was one of the 5%. When he first rented his apartment, he definitely had stoner vibes, but he was nice enough and passed his background check. Almost immediately, however, he started causing issues. The lady next door complained that she could smell his smoke constantly. The guy downstairs complained that he could hear his stereo all hours of the day and night. Another resident accused him of following him home one night. The police were regularly there breaking up fights between him and his girlfriends. We caught him hiding 2 large dogs in his apartment, and he regularly let them run loose, which ultimately resulted in another dog and 2 people getting attacked. He accidentally discharged a gun in his apartment once. Needless to say, he caused a lot of issues. At first, he was very apologetic and said that he would make an effort to remedy the problems. But things kept getting worse, and after a year of weekly calls or notices from the office, he eventually became standoffish. One morning, I received a call from Isaac letting me know that he'd broken up with one of his girls and she wouldn't leave the apartment. He asked me to personally come up and remove her. I'm a small woman, so even if I wanted to take the risk, I physically couldn't be. I'm a small woman, so even if I wanted to take the risk, I physically wouldn't be capable of wrestling an angry woman out of his apartment. I suggested that he call the police. He then asked if I could make a maintenance man come up to remove her. I ordered to call the police on his behalf, but Isaac said that he didn't want to involve them and hung up. A few hours later, Isaac came down to the office with a jump drive and said that he needed to print out a 50-plus page document. Residents weren't technically allowed to use our office printer, but on the rare occasion someone asked to, I usually didn't say no. It was an easy way to build up good rapport. But between Isaac becoming such a problem tenant and how large his document was, I told him I couldn't print his document. I gave him the excuse that our paper, toner, and print history was monitored, and he would get in trouble for printing such a large document out for him. We would get in trouble. I gave him the excuse that our paper/toner/print history was monitored and we would get in trouble for printing such a large document out for him. Not liking my answer, he started screaming about how it was BS, and he accused me of being useless, bringing up my refusal to fight his ex and power tripping. He called me all sorts of terrible names multiple times and said someone needed to bring me down a peg. I was pretty over him at this point and told him that if he was going to behave like a child that he needed to leave. He told me that I couldn't make a move, and bluntly I told him that he would leave or I would call the police and have him removed. I also told him that I would ban him from the office going forward. Normally I tried to kill the residents with kindness, but his lease was ending in a week and I didn't care anymore if he hated me. My threat seemed to work. He angrily knocked my pen holder over, then slammed both doors hard as he left. The following morning, a cop was waiting for me when I got to work. He asked if Isaac was a resident, and I confirmed he was. The officer explained that the body of a teen had been discovered the day before, and Isaac was the prime suspect. He was the last person to text the kid asking him to meet him where his body was found shortly after the message. The police believed Isaac had been paid to kill him, and based on the timing of the text and when the boy was discovered, Isaac would have had left my office and gone directly there. Ultimately, the police wanted to use Isaac's move-out day as an opportunity to try and catch him. To nobody's surprise, he didn't show up. When I walked to his apartment to inspect for damage, as there was a lot, I found about... Yeah, what the fuck? This guy's a hitman? When I walked to his apartment to inspect for damage, there was a lot. I found a bank receipt from the day of the murder. Someone had wired him $17,000. I thankfully never saw Isaac again, and he was caught in another country a few months later, and thankfully is rotting in prison. Yeah, click that like button, yo. You know what to do. You already know what it is. 656 viewers, oh my god. It was funny, I went into like a convenience store and I bought a energy drink for myself and one for my buddy. And the price came out to like $6.56. And it was just funny because the cash register person was like, oh my god, he's like, if my mom saw that number, she'd walk out of the store right now. I was just thinking like, just someone working their job and they see the number 656, like not even 666, just 656, and they just quit on the fucking spot. And then like, I don't know, every day I just go in and buy 2 energy drinks just to fucking troll them, just to get them to leave their post day in and day out. It's like, I gotta get out of here. This is too fucking scary. Whenever 2 numbers are added together and they make another number, that shit is just terrifying. So many people rotting in prison. They need better preservatives. I know, right? Enjoy your formaldehyde bath in prison. Did you get any lean for Pradeep? His tummy's so full of lean. He don't need no more. 85% lean. This experience happened to my roommates and I in our second year of university. The city we went to school in was considered a very safe university town. The most we had heard of happening was drunk morons doing typical drunk moron things. This was also the first time that we were all really living on our own. First-year residents are nice, but it's basically an extended summer camp rather than a typical living situation. The 4 of us girls lived in a nice townhouse that never once had a creepy vibe or weird neighbors in the months we had lived there. The only eerie part was that every weekend we were the only people who stayed in the complex. All of our neighbors either went home or stayed elsewhere until returning Monday for classes. This was never something we had given a second thought to, considering that was fairly normal for a university town, especially because our complex was only made up of about 4 other townhouses. The complex was surrounded by walking trails and farm fields, which we loved, and it was like our quiet spot away from the chaos of college kids. There were a few farmhouses that we could see from our backyard, but other than that, we were fairly secluded. The university was about a 20-minute bus ride away, which was never a big deal for any of us, especially because the rent was far cheaper here than in places that were within walking distance to campus. Being 5'6", I was the tallest by a considerable amount. I was also the only one out of the group who had been in a handful of scary situations. Due to this, I was the only one up until this point who would lock the doors, windows, and garage before leaving or going to bed. My roommates all grew up in a small, very safe town, so it was uncommon for them to lock doors back at home. Fuck. Lean. Oh, this one's so fucking long. This is such a fucking long story. Oh my god. He's scrolling. He's scrolling and scrolling. We've been going for 3 hours already. I thought this was gonna be quick. Fuck it. I'm just not gonna include this story. I'll put it on another video another time, but that one's just like too fucking long, dude. These last two are like substantially shorter and still like updated. It's just, I don't know. I didn't know that this one's gonna take me like another fucking like 20 minutes or some shit. I'm just like not in the mood. So I'm not exactly sure where to post this, but I feel like this might be the best spot for it. I recently moved out into an apartment building all the way up to the top floor. My balcony is at the back of the building, and the view is mostly trees, but there's some houses and a street directly behind the apartment building, so I can see that too, and I hope that makes sense. I usually sit out on my balcony at night, getting high and listening to music. At night, the view is just darkness aside from the house porch lights and the road lit up by street light. Most of the road view is covered by trees, but I can see a good amount of it. There's also no light for my balcony, so at night I just sit in the dark, aside from the light coming from my phone. So anyway, I was sitting there at around 10 p.m. or so, like I usually do, and I noticed movement from the road. When I looked down, I saw someone running down the road, like really fast. From my distance, it looked like this person was running faster than any human should. I was just watching when this person just stopped under a street lamp. Under the light, I could tell this person was a man. I also realized this person was now looking up at me. I got nervous, but I didn't move because I thought I could just be overthinking and maybe this guy wasn't actually looking directly at me. How could he? My phone wasn't on, so I was pretty much sitting in complete darkness. Could he really see me from all the way down there? I just kept sitting there, hoping the guy would leave, but then I saw him waving at me. Now I knew he was looking at me. I was too uncomfortable to do anything. I couldn't even go back inside. I just sat there, getting increasingly nervous. My thoughts started running wild. I thought this guy might find my apartment and try to break in. I also thought that they would somehow just sprint forward and climb up the building to get to me or something. But as I kept staring at this guy waving at me, a sudden feeling of dread came over me. That was when I started grabbing my things to go back inside. But then I saw that he stopped waving. He reached both of his arms out to the side and started swaying his body side to side, bending his knees as he moved and wiggling his arms around like a weird dance move. At this point, I was incredibly unsettled and just wanted to go back inside, but I was also slightly intrigued in a way, and I guess I wanted to see what he might do next. Soon, the feelings of dread and unease took over and continued closing up all of the stuff. Didn't I read this one already? Which one? The last one or the... I don't know. This one kind of sounds like that Smile Guy creepypasta. but I don't think I've read this one before. Maybe you heard it, yeah. I mean, you might have heard it somewhere else. You might have been drinking lean, too. So you're all leaned out. Soon, the feelings of dread and unease took over and continued closing up all of my stuff, and I went inside. There was a window in the room next to the balcony where you could see down to the same area, so I peeked outside trying to stay hidden behind the wall. I saw this guy still moving around, side to side, but he soon stopped, and I saw him just start booking it down the road again. I made sure my front door was locked, and I went back to my room, locking the bedroom door as well. The bedroom window looks out to the same direction, so I made sure that the guy was gone and closed my curtains. I didn't really sleep that night. I couldn't shake the uneasy feeling that I had. This happened a couple of nights ago, and I haven't seen this guy since then. I've still been sitting out in the balcony, but I've been getting really paranoid when I'm out there at night, so I don't stay out for as long as I did. I don't really know what to make of this whole thing. I don't know who that guy was, or maybe what he was. I get really uncomfortable and paranoid when I think about that night, like I'm back in that moment feeling. Like I'm back in that moment feeling those exact feelings again. Also, since then, I get occasional waves of dread, like at times throughout the day I get the feeling that I'm being watched. I hope this feeling goes away soon, and I'm really hoping I don't see that guy ever again. Why are y'all still awake? I know, it's like 1 a.m. You guys should be in bed. Hey friendos, don't need to bother Joel with this, but he's already addressed this. He said why he doesn't read stories with swears in them. I mean, I'll read the story, but I usually change it out. But yeah, I usually don't say swear words because I think certain swear words are you avoid demonetization if you don't say them or whatever. I think like fuck, and I don't know about shit. Maybe not shit. Maybe I don't know. I think just saying it too much, it's almost like pings their system, you know what I mean? And, you want it to be advertiser friendly. Even though, in my opinion, I don't really think, like, within the concepts of, like, stuff that people want to advertise on, like, why would they care about language, you know? It just seems silly. Alright, last story, friends. You have COVID, so you have 5 days off of work, so I'm happy to catch some live stream. Let's read on this chill, dark morning. Well, I hope you feel better, Emma. Sorry about the COVID. What's up, Chris P. Bacon? Yesterday, my daughter, who's 8 years old, and I went to one of those app-based games. It's like a scavenger hunt, but digital. We had to follow the map. It asked questions, and we had to solve riddles and things like that. The theme is one of our favorite books and movies. She and I went to the game with some of our friends and their kids about the same age. There were hundreds of people in costumes roaming around downtown, trying to save the person in the game. My daughter has a very rare health issue. I won't go into details for privacy reasons. Everything was fine, and then she wasn't, and we had to leave early before the game was done. So we started our walk back to our car that was in a parking garage ran by the city. We took our time. The elevator was broken, so we had to walk up 3 floors. I told the daughter that we will take our time and her equipment is in the car. As we were walking to the stairwell, a man follows us in. The hair on my neck stands up. I get a chill and goosebumps all over. I carry pepper spray on my keyring. I tell my daughter to walk in front of me and take her time. I unlock the trigger on the pepper spray. This man could have walked around us at any time, but he didn't. He stayed right behind us. When we got to the 3rd level, I have my arm locked right around hers. Our car is the first one. Our car is the first one, right there next to the stairwell. He follows us out to the door. I quickly unlock my car and pretty much toss her inside and close the door. I turn around to face him. He looks at me, doesn't say a word, and walks back into the stairwell. There was no one in the parking garage. All the employees had already left for the day. There are no cameras in this specific garage. If I would have known that, I would have picked a different one. Now I even wonder if the elevator was really broken because I don't remember seeing signs on the door when we got there. We didn't ride the elevator down because my daughter likes taking the stairs, but going down is way easier for her than going up. Is this the last story? Yeah, sorry, David. David, don't you have some sort of... Yeah, you work in, like, film, right? David Lynch's Severed... Yeah. Remember you said you worked in, like, film or some type of film-related thingamabobby? Thingamabobby? Thingamabobby! Bobby! Whoa! Oh my god. Pradeep just pushed the whole fucking chair. That was nuts. He just wants my attention so bad, and he'll get it at any cost. What are you doing? What are you doing? Come here. Come here. Let me squeeze you. Let me give you a bit of a squeeze. Alright. He doesn't want to be squeezed. Am I streaming on Halloween? Halloween falls on Monday, so I definitely will stream a Halloween-related video on Sunday, October 30th. So please do join. I do work in film. I work on a 48-hour film project this last weekend. Lots of exhausting work. I heard about that. My one friend who helps with, or I guess rather my sound guy down in South Africa, he did a 48-hour film thing, and he says it was, yeah, really, really tough, but a lot of pretty, satisfying by the end. Am I allowed to check out any of your film stuff, David, or is that kind of, you can keep it private, obviously, but if you do have something, definitely tag me in it. I'd love to check it out. Check it out! Hey friends, thanks for listening. Click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. I release new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. If you got a story, be sure to submit them to my subreddit, r/Let'sReadOfficial, and maybe even hear your story featured on the next video. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations and bonus content over on Patreon, or click that big join button to hear about the extra perks offered for the channel. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all of these stories in big compilations and save huge on data, located anywhere you listen to podcasts. Links in the description below. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, what do I say? What do I say? What do I say? What do I say, guys? What do I say? What do I say? And remember what? What? What do they remember? Oh my god. 'Tis the season to be spooky, fa la 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 la. I actually said that in the last one, it's spooky season, but not the fa la 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 part. Not the fa la 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 la. And remember, this was all just a dream. And remember, it's mother dud, not mother did. Oh yeah, did I say that in a story? I think I remember saying dud and just kind of like left it because I was not in the mood to redo it. He who smelt it, dealt it. Cheese is just scared milk. There you go. I like that. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, cheese is just scared milk. Tits the season. Alright, friends. Well, thank you so much for everything. Exit stage right, Snagglepuss. Ooh. I like how he just over enunciates every letter too. I can't believe he even did it. It's so funny. It's such a funny character for that era, you know what I mean? Just that accent. And I feel like nobody knew about if you go up to someone on the street, you're doing street interviews, you're like, what's your favorite cartoon character? Snagglepuss? And I'm like, who the fuck is Snagglepuss? And they're like, yes, I love Snagglepuss. But appreciate you guys. As always, thank you so much for the good vibes. Hope you continue to have a awesome week. I'll get this up on Patreon. It's only $1 a month, early access over there. Get the audio first, and then we'll get it up on YouTube later today at 7 p.m. EST on Let's Read. Also, like I said, there's a new podcast up on the podcast, anywhere you listen to that. It's called Worst what's it called? Worst field trip ever. So yeah, be sure to check that out. And yes, I will see all of you again back on Thursday for another live stream. So follow me on Twitter at Let's Read Creepy to be kept up to date when new streams go live, or hit the notification bell over here or there. And yes, buenos nachos, mi amigos, and me. Just okay, goodbye.